The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
the top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night, another Industry of Comics episode 115. We've got a lot of people hanging out with us tonight. And by the way, thanks to James from Hive Comics. If you guys, of course, you guys know who James from Hive Comics is, a longtime retailer, a longtime a co-host of this channel, been there since day one, longtime supporter of Beyond Wednesdays. Another retailer to join the crowd of retailers with me, including Emmett from Haven for Heroes, Sean from Comics Elite, and Jesse from Jesse James Comics. What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing? Jesse just getting in here and getting his mic going. Is your mic working okay?
Yeah. Is it working now?
You're working great, brother.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We have I don't know if you announced our great sponsor of the show as well.
Who?
Which one?
What?
Yeah, no, we haven't done that yet. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to announce my sponsor. I have a sponsor who's sponsoring me to be on this show. We are sponsored by Spam. America's Meat. Just add Spam. There you go. There's my promo for Spam. There you go.
Shout out to Mike Mayhew is in the chat. He said he's here with his popcorn and you guys, this show tonight is not a hate thing with Mike. It's more of a question and an industry thing, and that's how we're gonna go through this. But before we do, there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about. I want to give a big shout out to Milton Greep, who joined us last week on the show, and this was kind of cool. He put up this ICV2 post talking about the show and being on it on ICV2, and I can't thank Milton enough for that. That was a great episode, and I can't wait to have him on again. We're going to try and get him on quarterly. I'm really working. We're really working hard to try and get more appearances from Milton, Heidi, Rich. The guys, the people out there that are really keying in on the industry over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and the websites that are continuing to have like a journalistic impact on comics. So big shout out to Milton. That was a great episode for sure. And
it was. I'd love to have him back on like once a month at least.
Yeah, good dude. Very good dude. Couple of little housekeeping things. I want to give a big shout out to Sveta Shabina and Adam from Comic Boards Inc. You guys know we love Sveta over here. Adam's a good friend of the channel, and they're going to be set up. Sveta is not going to be there, but Adam is going to be set up this week in Pasadena for the Monster Palooza this weekend in Pasadena. And a lot of Sveta items, a lot of Sveta prints. They're debuting a lot of cool stuff. Let me see if I can bring this up and show you guys. This is kind of cool here. They recently sent me images of this special variant that they're doing for Haunted Palooza. I'm not sure if it's going to be only at the con or what, but this is the front. Beautiful Sveta art. And there's the back. Beautiful Sveta art. So Sveta Shavina, the Haunted Buns variant, is going to be at Monster Palooza this week, May 29th through the 31st. And also, you guys, I want to remind you that the Dreadful 3 issue 2 is going to be starting on Kickstarter soon. More about that as they'll be joining us for the launch date on that. So go check it out. Dreadful 3 issue 2 by Sveta Shabina. You guys can click the thing to say notify me on launch. Mods, if you get a chance, drop that link in the chat if you can for me. That'll be a lot of fun. And shout out to Sveta and Adam. And also shout out to Andy, who joined us, Andy Tarasov, who joined us, who's got an amazing cover coming out tomorrow, which we'll talk about on tomorrow's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, to get into the show, one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is I got a really, really good thing to announce for tonight. And before I do that, I want to say thanks to Retro Days, who just dropped a $50 super chat.
Damn.
He says, "Drinks on me again. Unless your shops didn't order any of the Cryptid Corpse #1 out for tomorrow, then you get nothing." Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. So, okay. Big announcement for tomorrow's episode. We're going to have somebody on very special for this show. And basically, he's going to kind of intro the show tonight a little bit. And I think this is kind of important because, before we get into the Mayhew controversy and everything, I want to play this because I think it's perfectly represents the other side of the conversation. And maybe even not. Maybe when we get into this conversation, we might think it might not represent the other side. We'll see. But honestly, maybe the side of comics that we risk losing the most if we're not careful. I'm going to roll this clip. All right, before I do that, let's go here. Okay, here we go.
When I saw videos of packed comic shops with people opening Battle Beast blind bags and everyone's celebrating as a group when they got various things out of the blind bags. And I feel like that is an experience within comic shops that you can only get from comic shops. No one is opening product in a Target and having other people in the Target cheer and go, you got the lavender lipstick. Yay. There's nothing like that anywhere else. No one's going to a GameStop and, opening their video games in front of people and having people congratulate them. I just think it's a fun, cool experience that people can have in a comic shop that we want to maintain.
And I think that, we talked a lot about this when the Battle Beast blind bags first came out. It was a big part of the push from our end. This is amazing. This is something that Robert's always been very good about, pushing things into the comic shops. And when you listen to what Kirkman is actually talking about here, he's not talking about maximizing profit margins. He's not talking about cutting out retailers. He's not talking about direct-to-consumer optimization. He's talking about community, okay? And I think that is the key. He's talking about the experience of comics and that moment where somebody pulls up something cool out of a blind bag and the whole shop pops up and says, "Oh my God, that's amazing." That's comic shop culture, the thing a lot of us grew up loving. And I think that's kind of important. And when you contrast that with the mentality and the sentiment that we're seeing going around right now because of, what's happened this week, where a lot of retailers and fans walked away feeling like comic shops were being portrayed as unnecessary middlemen standing between creators and customers. And that's why this conversation, I think, really exploded, in my opinion. But also because to a lot of people in this hobby, comic shops are not just transactional businesses. They're cultural hubs. And I want to give a big shout out to Robert Kirkman for always portraying that. And at the same time, I want to tell everybody, please come and join us tomorrow night on the Wednesday night review, where Robert Kirkman is going to join us on the show. That's going to be very amazing.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I want to make a statement there because there's something I do disagree with what you said. You don't need blind bags to give customers a great experience. You just need a great atmosphere in your store. Blind bags is an accessory that some people might buy, but I think the notion that your comic book store should be a great experience for everybody. You should be giving great comic book therapy. And why can't they shout out that they just completed their collection of ROM?
well, I think that was just one of the things he's talking about. It's not the only thing. But that being said, the big story this week is this Mike Mayhew post that he put out on his IG. That was very interesting, and it's still, being talked about all over social media today. A lot of conversations behind the scenes. This was his post on his Instagram, where he put up a big picture that said, "My Summer 2026 Comic-Con Manifesto," and I'm just going to read it for you guys. Okay, it says, "Stop giving fellow comic creators." So it looks like he's wanting to talk to comic creators. "Stop giving away equity in your future and your brand. You don't need these half-ass part-time tourists who call themselves stores. Half of them can't handle it and crash into a wall from greed and stupidity and take us with them. Their interests are not in your best interest. You have wings that are being clipped. When you are exhausted after convention season, 60% of your energy will have been wasted on accommodating stores and fans. It's unnecessary. Think of the art you could have made in the meantime. You are the proven innovator. You have extraordinary talent. You don't kid yourself into thinking you need others to justify your success. And double your prices, goddammit. Your talent and your signature isn't gasoline. You are not a commodity that should be available to everyone. You are special. And all those things they'll never see will be on eBay tomorrow. Or that they'll never sell. I apologize. All those things that they'll never sell will be on eBay tomorrow. Running a business is an art that can ignite your art in ways you never imagined. I will not be at any cons. I will be in the comfort of my own home with my family and traveling with the loved ones for pleasure while designing and scaling a creative brand with total freedom to do whatever I want. Take heed, time is running out. Mike Mayhew. Now, what's interesting to me about this, and we're going to start by just breaking down this to begin with, and then we'll get into all the comments and all the reactions. But what's very interesting to me, and the first thing that I think of, and a lot of the people that I've talked to, retailers, creators, fans, other content creators, the first thing that comes up is what caused this to happen initially. Like, we don't know. And Mike's in the chat. I would love to know, Mike, if there was anything that initially caused you to feel this way. Like, was there a bad deal that went wrong? Was there something that led up to this? Like, because not everything is black and white in this world, you guys. It's a gray area. And there's rights and wrongs in every situation on every side. And, that's the first thing that a lot of us, or a lot of people have been asking. Like, Mike could have had something that happened that, is really shitty and could have caused him to feel this way and put this out there very quickly. He's answering right now. He says, I felt this way for a long time. Which is
he's very active in the chat. He said that a lot of these retailers, I was curious about who he was first talking about when he said the first line, fly-by-night retailers won't be in business. And he put some stores in there, Frankie's, Unknown, Black Flag, Comic Sketch Art. So he's talking, some of these guys don't even exist anymore. Black Flag, Frankie's, Unknown's still there. Comic Sketch Art is probably one of the biggest reps in the industry. And Mike even said a little earlier, he said, any comic artist that isn't getting their own store exclusives for themselves is an idiot. Okay. I could agree with that to a point.
Well, that's a great point, because that's something that we have talked about pretty heavily on this channel for a while. It's something that has come up in a big way with the Mark Spears explosion, and Mark kind of dealt with that behind the scenes, where he there was some retailers out there that kind of rubbed him the wrong way, and it made him go, you know what, I can do this on my own. And we've championed Mark for doing that over here, in a big way. So we're kind of on in a way looking at this from both sides, from how we felt about it in the past.
No, Mike's saying a lot of stuff in the chat, guys. Mike's uploading a huge file on his computer.
Mike, you're more than welcome to come on, Mike. I'll drop the link for you if you want to come up. We'd love to have you come up. I know I asked you the other day and you said you were busy, so no worries if not. I get it. Totally get it.
I take a little umbrage with the they're not even in this full time. They may have another job. I had a retail store and still worked my full-time job. I'm not a variant guy. I don't do variants, but when was the last time you did sequentials? Are you in comics all the way?
Great point. You're asking Mike that. Yeah. Explain what you mean by that.
So
Emmett.
So I was coming up on retirement, and I wanted to have the store set and running. So I did both. I hired individuals to work for me. I don't do variants, so I'm not in that variant game. But you know, saying somebody's not in all the way, that's a broad brush. I mean, it's like, you know, when was the last time you did a full sequential book month to month for a year or two?
Yeah, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I also hear what Mike's saying. Mike, I've complained about the same thing for a while, but for different reasons. So I'm fully into comics, 100%. I don't have a day job. My day job is my store, 100%. A lot of these other guys, they do have, I call them real jobs, right? They're not fully vested. I know that's kind of controversial to say, but they're not basically this exclusive they're doing. Their entire business isn't hinged upon it, because if it bombs, they're getting a paycheck next week and that can make up for it, right?
Yeah.
That is a huge difference in how retailers approach the industry. It's a huge difference for how they approach the industry. There's been a lot of, and I get what Mike's saying by fly-by-nighters. There's been a lot of fly-by-nighters. They swoop in, they do a bunch of exclusives. They don't know how to do them. Like I warned people about this, like the Quintana situation with shithead over there, Heavy Mental, right? With that this opinions are mine only, do not represent everybody on the panel of Beyond Wednesdays.
We already got through that. Don't worry, bro. You're good.
Yeah, disclaimer, that blew that out his ass. Like, there's a lot of these guys, they swoop in, they do exclusives, they don't know how to do them, meaning they don't know how to price them, they don't know how to market them, they don't know how to sell them, they rely on partners way too heavy, and they can't sell the book, so they wind up dumping the shit out of it, which then it ruins the perceived value, the value of these books, if you're dumping them for less than what you paid for them. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I get that frustration 100%. I totally get that frustration.
Well, real quick, I want to make a statement
minute.
here. I want to make a quick statement here, and I'm not going to talk for the other guys, but I'm going to talk for myself. Mike, this isn't us, at least for me. This isn't me attacking you in any way. This is conversation for the industry, and you have brought up a really big point that we talk about quite heavily over here on this channel. And I think this is one of the moments where, you know, we have to kind of take note and say, hey, is what we've been saying, you know, is kind of happening, or we're worried of happening, starting to really happen here. So Mike, I really hope you don't take this as us attacking you, because that's not the goal here. I won't speak for any of you guys, but you guys can say whatever you guys want on that.
Well, sure. I mean,
I think he twice attacked store owners. I mean, you know, fires across the bow without knowing everybody's history.
but store owners
And also the swap meet now thing is reaching, it's growing, because we had the swap meet thing, swap meet stores mentioned. So
yeah, I think number one, stores need to just pony up and do their business. That's the first thing. Second thing, you know, he's a business owner. He should be able to make his decisions. And if he wants to make a statement about what he wants to do in the future, that's fine. If he chooses to throw down a little bit and talk about some other stores or other retailers, that's fine. If this doesn't bug you, this is what bugs me. You have people in his chat that are retailers that don't even buy his stuff. But we are in a world where people feel they have to talk and they have to be part of something. They don't want to be let out. Let the guy run his business. It sounds great that he wants to spend more time with his family. I think that's a good, honorable thing. So that's my point on this. I don't have anything in this, you know. So just my thing is, let the guy run his business.
Sure. He's also saying, and I'd be fine with that, he's talking about what everybody else should do also. So my whole thing was basically you scroll back up, Brian, that whole thing was the first sentence was when he's like, quit, you know, stop, you don't need these half-ass part-time tourists who call themselves stores. Okay. And he clarified in the chat, I believe, who he was talking about, but I gotta disagree with him on a lot of this stuff. Like those guys who the comic mint, yeah, he's a doctor. He makes a ton of money. I know him. He's a good dude. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he can't participate in the comic book industry. Some of the best exclusives we've gotten in the industry, some of the best covers we've gotten in the industry have been store exclusives. So many artists have become a household name in the comic industry because of their store exclusives. Some
So
of these guys,
you're saying Mike dictates who gets to do an exclusive or not?
no, I never said that.
Then why does it matter what he says?
Well, he said all artists need to do their own exclusives and don't work with stores. That's what he said.
And that's what he's suggesting to people. That's not, I mean, no one's saying, oh my gosh, Mike just said this, so I can't do this anymore. I think
We also know it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as just doing your, you know, if you don't have an internet presence, you don't have a website, you know, okay, you could jump on Whatnot, but you know, what's driving people to your Whatnot show?
Yeah. Just go ahead. I'm sorry. I feel like I was cutting you off.
No. I was just going to say, I think when we read this, everybody, a retailer who just opens up his door every day, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week. You know, I'm kind of that guy that does both. I do live streaming, I do variant exclusives, and I do all that. But I also understand I'm here to run my business. And if someone wants to run their business and they want to make statements, that's cool, fine, dandy. It doesn't reflect on how I'm going to do my business.
Can I ask you a quick question, Jesse? Does your business rely on creators at all?
Does my business rely on creators at all? My business relies on great partners that are where they make great exclusives together.
What does that mean? Are those people creators? Are those partners creators?
Everybody I deal with, the 5 exclusives that are coming out are artists and publishers.
Okay.
We work hand in hand with them. So it's very essential to have a great business relationship with them. But I'm not going to go and talk to Brian Polito and say, hey, by the way, did you hear what Mike said? It has nothing to do with our business. And I think that's my view of this. But like Sean's view is fine. He's more involved in that space. So obviously he's going to have a different opinion than me.
Well, you know, James, it's kind of interesting because you're kind of like the young guy here with all these grizzled old retailers, but you've been in this game for a decent you've been in this game for a decent amount of time. You've been doing, you know, as long as I've been doing content creation, I want to say close to 10 years, you've been, you know, doing this retailer game. And, you know, you're that business model that is more online retailer than it is brick and mortar. And I want to hear like your take on this. And I want to start off by, what was your take on the initial post?
So I do have to say, with clarity between what Mike has said in the chat and rereading this multiple times, I literally have it on my phone above me so I can reread it again and again. But when I first read it, when he said you don't need these half-ass part-time tourists that call themselves stores, I assumed he was talking about every fucking store. And I was like, how as a comic creator can you come out and say you don't need comic retailers? Like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. But I get where he's coming from. And I get that. I got that from his entire thing. I get where he was coming from. He was saying, fuck all the bullshit. I want to do it myself. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I just didn't understand why, when you're deciding to make that move, you do it in such a way where it's like putting yourself on an island and alienating yourself from everybody, because that's what it read to me.
Well, that's why real quick, that's why I asked, like, you know, what was it that caused him to initially feel this way? Was it like something that somebody had done really shitty to him and his family or something? And he said it's been a long time, but you know, one of the things that you kind of said to me, James, when we first talked about this, is you're like, you know, he could have said this in a much different way. He could have come out and said like, hey, I want to spend more time with my family. I feel like I can do this on my own. A lot of other artists and creators have figured out ways to do this on their own. I'm going to take that step. It gives me a more chance to spend time with my family. It gives me more chance to be over all of my finances and you know, choose how I want to do my business. And I think, you know, the comment you was like, if he would have came out and said it that way, there would have been more people that have been like maybe joining up or buying his stuff he would have endeared himself to the fans and to the retailers rather than pushing fans and retailers away, because that's what he's done. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, the comments in the comment section and a lot of people that have responded to this in different posts have said, you know, they're no longer buying Mike Mayhew stuff. They're no longer carrying Mike Mayhew stuff. And that's the kind of the bummer. And I would love to get your thought on that, you know, that initial post, because that was a great point.
I think a lot of fans definitely took it that way. I took it that way. I'm a fan. I was a fan. I didn't like the, you know, the thought that he thinks his time at conventions or his time around his fans is wasted time. Like I don't know how I don't know how there's any way that you could spin that as a creator to make it sound anything other than it is, which is, in my opinion, a big middle finger to your fans. And these are people that, with regardless of how you do things as a creator, regardless of how you do it by yourself, you're self-published, you write your own stuff, you do your own art, you could do the whole fucking thing yourself. The one thing you can't do is buy your own books and make it successful. You need other people to buy your stuff. And the second you alienate yourself from your fans by saying they're not worth your time, that is what upset me. So as a fan, my immediate comment was something along the lines of, like, as a fan and a retailer, I'm not supporting you anymore. And you know, I urge other people to speak with your dollars. If this is behavior that you don't agree with, then speak with your dollars.
Let me ask you this, James, and actually the panel. Do you think retailers would do business with him and won't even know that this happened?
Yeah, because there's retailers that this is outside of their sphere. I mean, there's creators I work with on a regular basis that I'm not up to date with their social media. I'm not up to date with their feelings on things. I still have those professional, I still work with them on a professional capacity, but I don't pay that close attention. Right. Do I think this blows up to the point, or has potential to blow up to a point to where more people than not know about it? Yes. But at the end of the day, does it really matter at this point for him? Because if he's just going to do it all himself, then fuck it. You know, like, does it really matter anymore?
Right.
But I worry that if he does do this himself, because we all know that running all aspects of it can be difficult. He has been doing it, but to the scale I think he's trying to, I don't think he's done it to that scale yet. There might be a point, could be years down the road, where he realizes, like, well, shit, it sure was nice when I had a few retailers knocking at my door asking me to do exclusives.
Real quick, Gilbert just dropped a $50 super chat. He says, Sean, would you know, maybe he did get in a fight with John from 616 because that is his retailer partner?
I don't think so. I feel like John would have called me. He doesn't run everything by me, but we're close enough to where I feel like John would have mentioned something to me. So I don't think that's the case. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't think that's the case. So I just sent you some stuff in the chat here, Brian. This is the problem I have with all this stuff here. So I've done retail exclusives with Mike, like, a while back. We did this one, Return of the Valkyries. This was hosted by Comics Elite. Yeah. It was a fun cover. We did a trade and version of it. He's an amazing artist. Amazing. We did the Hellions. That was fun. Trade and Virgin. I didn't host this one, but I took a huge chunk of this cover of whoever did host it. May have been unknown. And I took a bunch of these. I think I had 15 or 20%.
Beautiful.
I think of that.
Yeah.
That print.
Gorgeous.
So, like, what Mike is telling people, I feel like his message is distorted. Now, I'm not speaking for Mike, but I will push back and say this. He wasn't always the Mike Mayhew. At one time, he was just Mike Mayhew. Now, he's always been a great artist. Don't get me wrong. I got one of his Vampirellas recently. I picked up to have him sign why am I never able to get it signed? Because he's never going to cons anymore. But he was always a great artist. But there was definitely a time where you needed me and other people to share these exclusives with you, so you could get a percentage of them, so you could sell them on your own at tables. you're telling, so you got to recognize this, right? So you got to recognize that, bro. It took you years to build up to where you are right now. And I get your king of the hill right now, brother. Your art's fantastic and you're blowing it up. Your absolute covers are selling fantastic. You had the Joker cover that was legendary. The mouth, the
This
big
GI
crazy
Joe
Joker
stuff
face.
is
That thing
some
was
of my
awesome.
favorite. I love this GI Joe stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But you had to start, bro, with retailers working with us to get to that point, right? You're telling these guys you need to be doing your own retailer exclusives. So, bro, some of these guys can't afford to do their own retailer exclusives. It's an enormous investment. A trade, a Virgin, and 2 foils. You're looking at what, $30,000, Marvel or DC? Let's just talk DC because that's what everybody's doing right now. It's like $30,000, $40,000 project for these things. That's a huge investment, and those bills are due like a week after you get the covers in. So you got a week to either pre-sell or pay for those and go live and sell them. I'm so glad you're able to do that. I'm super glad you're able to do that. I'm happy for you. I love seeing. I consider Mike a friend. I haven't seen him in ages, but I still consider him a friend. We've never had a negative interaction. And I think it's fantastic. However, trying to teach other people to do this and inspire them to do this on their own, I wouldn't have gone so far as to be like, you're stupid or whatever he said. You're an idiot if you're not doing these things on your own. A lot of guys need a retailer to get up to that level. A lot of artists don't want to run their entire business. They don't want to have a shipping department and a whatnot streamer and a website for someone to post all the pictures and someone to do the email marketing. That's a lot of work, man, for people to hire these people to do that stuff. So, you're asking all these guys to just do this, screw these retailers. We don't need them. A lot of guys need retailers. And honestly, bro, you just said in the chat, you said next month I'll be on my own. Okay. So you're just recently able to go on your own. I was taking 5% of all your covers from John in 616. So he's like, I can only do 5% on the Mayhew. So up until like right now, you still needed retailers. Now all of a sudden, I don't need retailers. Fuck these guys. It's a bad look, bro. It's a bad look.
That brings up a great.
I don't think so. I think you're. First of all, he's asking these people, not telling.
What do you
them.
mean
People
asking? How is he asking? This Jesse. This is hold on, Jesse. This isn't asking. This post is not asking in any way. This is his statement. He's not asking in any way on this post.
Scroll down a little more.
Yeah, no. Again, you guys are taking his post literally. Do you think, Mike? Do you think Scott Snyder can just come out and say, "Hey guys, I'm telling you what to do"? That's just part of wording. You're taking it way too far here. The guy wants to build his own business and wants to do it by himself. He's going to have plenty of retailers come to him. You're making it sound like no retailers didn't work with Mike. Trust me, he's going to have retailers lined up when he's ready to do it. We live in a business. Someone had said that people are going to forget about this 6 months from now. People are going to forget about this 2 weeks from now. Why? Because we live in a business that is Wednesday to Wednesday. If you're a live streamer, it's day to day.
I don't think his fans who he just shit on their entire collections are going to forget about this anytime soon.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a serious question here, James.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Alex Ross at his booth at San Diego?
How many times have you seen me sell an Alex Ross comic?
That's not the question. The question is, Alex Ross does not do conventions. Never. Why? Because he wants to work. Does that mean he doesn't like his fans? No, he wants to work to produce stuff for his fans. So I would just say we have to be careful on assuming way too much on.
So this is a great comment from Mike. He says, I netted 57. Okay, go ahead, James.
But did Alex Ross come out before he stopped doing conventions? Did he come out and say that, what was it? That his energy has been wasted on accommodating fans by being at conventions?
You know, the last time he was at a convention?
No,
It was
and I don't care.
way,
But I'm
way
sure he
before.
didn't shit
It
with his
was
fans
way.
on his
It
way out
was
the
way
door.
before an Instagram post or a Facebook post is more important now.
So
News travels fast,
Mike
and
just
then you
said,
have to interpret it and move on.
Mike just said, I netted $5,700 on today on Whatnot. Which one of your stores made $5,700 today? Do any of you know of any business that netted $5,700 today?
Right
Yeah.
here. Yep, I got the receipts. I can show you the receipts right now for it.
Yeah,
This is a
I did
weird
12,
flex.
12 grand on Friday, between Friday and
Yeah.
Sunday on Whatnot.
So this,
and that's not counting my
one of
website
the things
sales.
that I find very
Yeah.
interesting about this
Yeah,
whole
I'm doing
thing is the question of community. Has the comic industry become too fragmented to still feel like a true community?
We're at 10 today so far, and we're still
10
streaming.
views.
I mean, do you guys think that there's that like this, that it's become an us versus them type thing where
No,
creators
I think
and retailers and fans are no longer comic community, and they're just, it's us versus them, and who could ever make money
No,
off of who?
I think it's based on the individual. I can disagree with everybody on this panel and we'll buy each other a beer. And then there are people that you can disagree with and shoot, they're throwing a beer at you. And that's just the way this is. So I think the community might be fragmented, but you decide who you want to be friends with. You decide who you want to do business with.
Mike says our community
online-
on Whatnot is bigger and stronger than ever.
So look, so I'll say this: the industry is cyclical. A year ago, my website was 80% of my business, and Whatnot was about 20%. It is flipped, where my website is now probably 30% of my business. Whatnot is about 70% of the business when we stream. So it's different. If and I would just challenge anyone to say this: when the feast is good, people are feasting.
Mhm.
When it's famine time, life sucks, and you need other people. Period. If you
might have to come to the swap meet.
yeah, you might need to go to the flea markets and try to get some people to buy your shit. We got to talk about that. This seems like you guys are really dwelling on that a lot.
Well, Mayhew just repeated it, so
What did
I
Mayhew
do wanna
say?
like, I
So-
don't disagree with Mayhew's statement that that artists are giving away equity in their brand. I do think that there's a place, and I'm just putting this out there. I would love if a top tier talent, somebody of the caliber of Mike Mayhew, came to me as a retailer and said, hey, listen, I want to do an exclusive. Do you want to partner with me? I would love that. You know, we many times as a retailer, we go to these artists with that. And I've gotten to the point recently where when I talk to artists, we treat it more of a partnership. And I go, listen, I know that they're going to give you this many incentives. I would love to give you some extras. Can you help post on social media? Can you help us get the word out? And I've done a better job of asking them to be more of a partner with me on stuff. But I would love if artists would take that stance up front and say, hey, listen, I've got 60-something thousand followers on Instagram. I would love to push the book out to these guys with you. I would love to be your partner on this with that. I've got these conventions coming up. If you've got a table, I'd love to set aside some time for signings. I would love those partnerships.
A perfect example of that was just when Davis Ryder sold out of those Peach Pomoko Virgin Black Cats a few months ago, because Peach posted the thing, helped him with the sale, and he sold out in seconds.
Real quick, I want to make some statements because Mike's in the chat saying stuff. First of all, he said, I sell out of projects through my Whatnot channels. I don't need retailers to sell my books. Mike, what if Whatnot was no longer there, or you were no longer allowed to use Whatnot? That's one question. My other thing is, Mike says, and when James was talking, it would be a waste of my time. You could offer me nothing. There would be no incentive for me to partner with you. And I would love to know what retailers think of that comment out there, you know?
Well, here's again, I got a lot of thoughts on this. Mike, I'm so glad you sell out of your projects. I'm super happy that you found that for yourself. It wasn't always that way. This is my point I'm trying to make.
He says,
You had to
doesn't
come from
care.
somewhere.
yeah, he says,
He
ask
doesn't
me.
care.
He says, ask me what my incentive to partner is with any of you. I'm curious. Is there any incentive for Mike Mayhew
No.
to partner with any of you?
No,
Not now. Nope. Zero. If you
there's
can
plenty
sell
of
out-
artists that are starting out.
if
Yeah.
you can sell out of, I just had this talk today with another artist. I told them, I said, your best bet, your dream bet is you don't need me and you can sell directly to your fans.
Mhm.
I just had this talk with them today. I said, this isn't in my best interest because I'm cutting myself out of the loop. But if you can go around me, you don't need me. That's your best case scenario. I said, but then you got to do, there's all the drawbacks of that. You got to start a whole shipping company and emails and all the things you got to take away from what you do, which is create. But that's fine. Mike's found a way to do that. I'm super fucking happy for him. 100%. What my point is this, Mike is in that post telling artists, stop giving away equity. You need to do your own shit. I'm crushing it. You don't need these retailers, these fly-by-nights, half-ass retailers. You don't need them. And what I'm trying to tell Mike is, you did fucking need us for a decade. For 30 years, you needed us. And all of a sudden, you're finding some success on Whatnot because you have your absolute Batman is super hot. You're killing it on your covers for that title. You found a platform where these people are coming to you, and I'm very happy for you. But you are also dismissing everybody that helped you get to this point, all the retailers that you're now calling fly-by-night, half-assed people that aren't even invested in it. If some of those fly-by-night people didn't help you get to where you are, you would not be where you are. And you can't you can do whatever you want, but telling other artists that the way to go is to cut out these half-assed fly-by-night people, it took you 30 years to get to this point, Mike. Yeah, you're right. Most artists will never know how to leverage a print run when it's in the hands. You're absolutely right. Who has $40,000? Who has $20,000? Mike, who has
10,000?
Who has $2,500?
Not me.
For a Vampirella project.
Not me.
Right.
That's why
So
I work
let
with
me ask you
Dynamite.
this.
You know?
Let me ask you this. If he started off this statement saying, my thoughts are, would that make a difference?
I feel like we need to read this message again because Jesse,
Yeah, I don't
like
think Jesse. I don't think you. Have you read the message?
No. I read it. I read it 3 times. What I'm saying is, if he said, my thoughts are, you guys wouldn't be bitching. But because he was forward,
80% of the rest of that.
I think we would definitely be. Jesse, these are his thoughts. He doesn't have to say my thoughts are. These are his thoughts.
It's his Instagram post.
Yeah.
Those are his thoughts. Or his Instagram post. Those are his thoughts.
No, that's you're not.
Hey, Mike, are those your thoughts?
Well, no.
Mike, are those your thoughts on your post?
Jesse said we're not understanding what he's saying. I want to know what he's trying to get at.
No, my point is, you're saying that he is telling people, but if he started this article with saying my thoughts and not telling people, would this be a different? Would you guys take this differently?
It would be the same.
I took it differently completely. I was with you, Jesse. I was like, this is just what he wants to do with his business. Then he gets into the chat and starts disparaging people. He doesn't know where we came from, how we've been. What's he going to do if there's a cultural shift and variant covers don't mean shit anymore? A covers, you look all the way back since variants started, A covers outpace variants, except for a tiny fraction of books, and only to a tiny fraction of the niche community that wants ghost books and stuff like that. So in the majority, it's the A cover for forever. And
a year ago, we couldn't give away retailer exclusives. That's why Unknown almost went under. That's why these guys the exclusive game just dried up like huge. That's why we had to go. DC wouldn't lower their minimums. Marvel wouldn't lower their minimums. That's why we all had to get into these giant conglomerates and share it between 4 to 5 different people. The fact that Mike can do his own print run is a huge feather in his hat. It's super happy for him. Congratulations. But he's forgotten where he's come from by telling other artists, you're stupid for not doing this. Stop giving away equity, blah, blah, blah. Everyone in this industry survives. Almost everybody survives. I have survived on partnerships with other retailers, with creators, with printers, with conventions, with streamers. It's always been some kind of a partnership where how can I help you? How can you help me? How can we do business together? I've always said a rising tide raises all ships, and there's more than enough money to go around in this industry. 100%. So to say that nobody should do this. You're really giving bad advice out there to a lot of people. And the tone of your email, Mike, really felt like you totally forgot where you came from. Like it came off as, look how great I am. I'm the shit. Fuck all these other guys. Boom, mic drop. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. I don't know. I still go back to the energy being wasted on stores and fans when it's the stores selling his product and it's the fans buying his product. And at the end of the day, the fans he's talking about are still the people that are in his Whatnot streams, or that used to be in his Whatnot streams. Because I saw plenty of people that said they won't touch a book of his. I sat in one of his streams today and saw his guys try and sell book after book after book with no bids.
Well, I want to talk about that because that was kind of like where it tailed into something different. And, you know, Mike started putting out, you know, posts of the books he was selling and all kinds of like little remarks, you know, like I'm rich, bitch, and you know, all this stuff, which is very interesting. And don't get me wrong, I love some great remarks on stuff every once in a while. But there was some things where it's kind of like, man, you're leaning into this and you're going to piss off a lot of your fans. It didn't make sense. Did you guys happen to see any of those posts?
I saw the post. I saw one of those books sell for 75, which for a signed remarked book, you know, that's good on him. That was a good upside on his end. I saw him sell some fake $100 bills with his face on it that were remarked. I thought that was kind of clever. You know, those were selling for 30, 40 bucks. And then I saw his guys try and sell slabs that, you know, were quote unquote $450 slabs. They were selling for 200, not getting bids, and dropping them to 130, not getting bids. And
man, I love you, James. You are a very good friend, but you got way too much time on your hand.
That was in 10 minutes. By the way. All of that was in
way too much time on your hand to be watching someone else's streams. I'm just telling you, buddy.
I watch other people.
I was in there. Let me put this out there. I was in there because he's in the chat. I was in there with a purpose. I was hoping he would be in there because I would love to have a remarked book that says, "Who in the fuck is Hive Comics? Mike Mayhew." That's all I want. Is I want a remarked book that says, "Who in the fuck is Hive Comics?" That's it.
Well, I thought this was
getting
funny.
rid of the rest of my Mayhew collection, but that one book I would certainly love and treasure. So,
yeah, here are the $100 bills, which is very interesting.
I don't know what Mike's talking about in the chat. We're all in his world. I am not in your world, brother. I'm in my own universe. Trust me.
Mike Mayhew is Satan. Mike's crazy. I like the one that says Comic Jesus. By the way, that's my old name, Mike, but I no longer need it anymore. You can have it. So Dennis gave me that name a long time ago before he got all butthurt at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I mean,
give me the loan, give me the loot. I like to give me the loot.
You know,
there we go. Comic book Jesus. There we go.
Yeah. I think it was clever of him to lean into it.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, but you know, leaning into it has also cost him a lot of fans and a lot of retailer partners too.
Yeah, it did.
A lot of free advertising.
Mm-hmm.
He did get a lot of free advertising.
I'm legitimately, I'm very happy that Mike has reached this level of success 100%. I feel like, this is my opinion, Mr. Whoever his name, pop in the chat saying we're policing people. Not at all. We're allowed to respond, right? Free speech is still a thing. We're allowed to reply to our thoughts on what other people have said. So, yeah, my opinion is it was in poor taste. I feel like he's trying to give some advice that could have been given off a lot better. It came off as advice. And yeah, the whole thing about not going to cons, good for you, man. You don't have to go to cons, but at the same time, that's where fans like to meet people. Right. Not everybody likes Whatnot. You know, I love this level of success for anybody, 100%. It's just yeah, like I said again, it really feels like you've achieved this in 30 years, which is fantastic. Like, good for you, man. Mike's always had a great business sense. I remember talking to Mike a long time ago when he just did some Star Wars covers. We're at a con. We were just talking about, it'd be cool if he remarked some books and the numbered them 1 of 1 or whatever. And then he did that thing and it worked out great for him. Like, he's always had a great business mind. He's always been a very good salesman. A lot of artists are not good salesmen. They're not good business people. They can't even manage their own commission list. and you're giving them advice to run their own business. Like,
I want to
That's
say
funny,
some of
man.
these comments real quick because there were some great comments from a couple of creators out there. Mark Brooks says, "My job is singular and solitary, which I like, but conventions are how I recharge. I make plenty of money at home doing my thing, but the money doesn't buy camaraderie or the motivation I get when I meet the fans face to face that appreciate my work. A successful sale can fill my wallet for another month, but it can't fill my spirit. The bond with my peers and fans isn't something I can buy my way into. Likewise, I love my representation and what they do for me. They handle logistics, customer service, and all the stuff that goes along with a successful online sale so I can focus on art. They earn every penny what they get paid for so I can feel stress-free drawing and hanging out with my peers and fans. By doing what I produce, more work that I'm paid for. By doing what that I produce, more work that I am paid for. It's a win-win all the way around. Every artist in this business should do what works best for them, so I won't ever fault you for your decisions. The least you could do is the same for your peers," which is very interesting, that comment. That comment, it feels like to me that's Mark saying like, "Hey, dude, you're kind of shitting on you're screwing it up for your peers here," and I could be wrong there, but that was very. I suggest anybody go read the comments in these suggestions. Mike responded to Mark. He gave a big response. He says, "I have extenuating circumstances in my life which prohibits or makes it value proposition of whether I go to cons or whether I pursue this other really important part of my life that is not public." When he said that, that was the moment where I said, okay, maybe we got to give Mike a little grace here. Maybe he's going through something, that's shitty in his life here. And those are the extenuating circumstances. He says, "I'm 56 years old and I've been in this industry for 33 years. I have 2 teenage children and I'm trying to pay for college, get ready to retire, retirement, etc. Raising capital is a primary concern. I have invested $1 million in printing comics over the last 8 years to have a message for my fellow comic artists. That was the nature of my post. I love going to conventions." Doesn't sound like it, Mike. No offense. "I love going to conventions. I love meeting fans. There are decades of stories of me having warm encounters with fans. I love seeing and talking to other creators. I always make a point to tell them how much I appreciate their work. But the reality is, I'm going to smoke all you guys by orders of magnitude on revenue." Ooh, that hurt, Mike. That just deleted everything you said, brother. I think that's something to think about, because the convention experience trade-off is going to cost you an insane amount of money. And I'm going to get a foothold in real estate in a marketplace that other people will have very hard time catching up with. I'm giving people a chance. I don't need to do this. I'm already where I need to be. I'm bored with comic creator whose response talking about is cons are fun. People are nice. I enjoy going. It really does nothing to either counter or agree with my argument. Man, Mike, like, you are pissed, bro. You're fucking mad, bro. I get it.
No, I think that's a great statement. I think what he is technically saying, look at that, how many people have done this already. There are so many people that have been very successful going off by their own, whether it be Polito, Sakai. You can go down this list of people that have been successful. Maybe he's even seeing that avenue, and that's what is inspiring him to be better. Now,
Jesse,
his
real quick
might
on
not
that
be the
point.
greatest.
Real quick on that point, Jesse, and I appreciate that last point. How it might not be the greatest way to do it, but I've never heard Polito talk trash about fans or other creators ever.
And there's also another difference, too, if I can jump in on that. Brian owns his own property. Mike is doing variant covers. Yes, it's the same, but it's also extremely different. It's extremely different.
So Mark responded to him and he said, "Mike, trust me, I've been reading your replies. I get the exhaustion. I'm doing things very differently than you. Quite the opposite in fact. I'm on track to beat your year last year by loving my fans, getting out to see them, and producing work I love. I've also been fiscally minded since the day I began this job. I own multiple properties. I can retire fully in the next 5 years. Quite honestly, I'm exhausted by the cynicism of some of my peers that have grown grizzled and hard by a job that's supposed to be fun. I'm 53. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have a teenage son I'm putting through college. Welcome to life. I too am constantly trying to earn, save, and protect my future. I do better every year, year after year. I think I'll stick with what I'm doing. You're welcome to do whatever it is that you think you're doing, which at this point seems to be pissing off your fans and turning off your peers. You're a hell of an artist, but all of this is really confusing. If you do have a real message, I think it's getting lost in a lot of bad messaging and ego. But you don't seem to have a mindset to see that. Have fun with it, I guess. Very, very interesting response and very interesting, conversation between the two.
Yeah, peers talking to peers. Yeah, so for me, after this conversation, I'm going to forget it. It doesn't affect my business at all. But there are people that will continue to talk about it. And if that's what makes their business better, awesome. But I would challenge people to go out and sell, solve everything. What other people say, it's not really material to my future and my brand and my customer base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
doesn't affect my business either. I took more offense to his statement because I was a fan of his. I took the fan side of it harder than I took the retail side of it. I give shit if people talk shit on, listen, I'm not a brick and mortar. I'm an online retailer. Some people would say I'm not a real retailer, right? But
some people would, including our former co-host here.
Oh yeah.
This was a comment that Mike made after, I guess you might have made a post, James. You're going to have to explain this, but Mike made a comment.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Hive Comics, and have they been around for more than 3 years? And Dennis said, exactly, Mike. So where did that come from, James?
Just the statement I said earlier where I basically posted as a fan and a retailer, I'll no longer be carrying his products and that I need to decide what I'm going to do with my collection is, whether, if there's even any value left in it after he's just shit on all of his fans, or does it all just go in the recycle bin? I have no want for my Mike Mayhew collection anymore. I've got a bunch of signed Mike Mayhew books. I could give two shits about them now. So, as a fan, I feel dejected. And that's where my statements came from. My statements were quickly deleted, and then that was posted, and then a bunch of my peers made comments that also got deleted and removed, and there was a lot of community support on my end. So I don't know. If anything, my peers close together.
I do want to play a couple of those comments real quick. This is from Trolls. Trolls has put out quite a few comments on this that I want to play.
Oh, if you didn't see yet, Mike Mayhew, really awesome artist, by the way, just had like one of the biggest crash outs on Instagram I've seen in a while. Basically, he talks about how comic book stores and I guess the fans too are a big problem to him. He says, fellow comic creators, stop giving away equity in your future and your brand. You don't need these half-assed, part-time tourists who call themselves stores. Half of them can't handle it, and they crash into a wall from greed and stupidity and take us with them. Their interests are not in your best interest. You have wings that are being clipped. Ah! It's unnecessary. Think of the art you could have made in the meantime. You are the proven innovator. You have extraordinary talent. Do not kid yourself into thinking you need others to justify your success. And double your prices. God damn it. Your talent and your signature isn't gasoline. You're not a commodity that should be available to everyone. You are special. And all those things they'll never sell will be on eBay tomorrow. Running a business is an art that can ignite your art in ways you never imagined. But I won't be at any cons. I'm going to be in the comfort of my own home with my family and traveling with loved ones for pleasure while designing and scaling a creative brand with total freedom to do whatever I want. Take heed. Time is running out. Listen, I've been called a lot of things, but a half-assed part-time tourist is not one of them. You can say what you want about retailers, but I have a handful of artists that'll tell you that, you know, I've helped them immensely become who they are. And a lot of people probably never would have seen them or been talking about them if I didn't do a book with them. So as much as you want to think you're right, Mike, and there are some complete tool bags out in the comic industry. It's every industry though, man. It's human beings in general. I think you got it wrong. I think your current situation, that whatever you're dealing with and whoever you're dealing with, yeah, go ahead and be mad about that. But to just say that everybody's like that, every retailer, and you don't need us, is crazy, because I know plenty of creative people that can't do what I do. Trust me, man, a lot of artists can't do what you do, Mike. You know what I mean? A lot of artists don't want to be behind the camera. They don't want to do what you do, okay? And they're not going to be as successful as you because they just can't do it. Some people have better talents than other things. Just like saying that like everybody can draw, which they can.
And that brings up a great, right? That brings up a great kind of segue into this topic. You know, one of the things that we've talked about a lot is there are some major douchebags in this industry. And like Troll said, it is every industry. And there are some retailers out there that give bad names to the good retailers out there. There's artists out there who give bad names to other artists out there working with retailers or working with fans. Like, there's a lot of douchebags everywhere. It's just the human, thing. Like, you know what I mean? And that kind of brings me a little bit back cyclical. We've been talking about this for a while, that, Mike, your point about how artists can do it on their own is a big, big point. It is a major thing that we talk about on this channel. Do you want the link? Is that what you're asking for? The link? You want the link, Mike? Let me drop the link again here for you.
No, I love that Mike said that he loves Troll and you offered him a job.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Troll's great. Yeah, Troll's great. And
Troll,
I know you guys had a little thing back and forth, and I thought that was great. We'll play that in a little bit. But at the same time, I want to get back to that. Like, a lot of these, retailers out there do give bad names for the good retailers out there. And we've seen that. We've seen retailers like, and I'll bring up a couple of names, and you can go back and look at it. I won't bring up names, but I'll bring up things that you guys know what I'm talking about. But the guy who actually Deviant Nation, I'll just say it, Deviant Nation, somebody who we brought up before. Epic Nation, somebody who we brought up before. Top Shelf Comics, somebody who I've brought up before. There are retailers out there that, in my opinion, give bad names to other retailers. But again, like Troll said, that's with everything. We're humans, and same with artists. I mean, there's people like John Byrne who is known for years for being very curmudgeon and doesn't like dealing with fans or dealing with retailers. Alan Moore, very curmudgeon, doesn't like dealing with fans and retailers. Those things don't help. Those type of personalities don't help build community. They don't help build brothership, fellowship, and brotherhood. And I think that is one of the things that, again, I keep going back to, where I feel like in the comic book world, especially when comic shops get involved, that was always the thing to me. Like, we used to ask on the show, whenever we'd have a new creator on, we say, what is a comic shop to you? And they would always say it's like a community. It's a place for fellowship. It's a place for, nerds to come and get along and shoot the shit and have a good time. And this type of attitude just doesn't feel like it's promoting that brotherhood and that fellowship. But it does show that the industry is changing. And that brings up the next part of this, and that is, the variant game. That this Mike's output or outpouring of anger has really kind of brought up this luxury creator culture type angle, if that makes sense. Like ultra premium signatures, VIP culture, limited exclusives, creator worship. And look at everybody going crazy over Dan Quintana in such a short period of time. Artificial scarcity, which we talk about all the time. You know, are comics becoming like a luxury culture instead of a fandom community?
Before anybody answers that, what do you guys think? There's no wrong answer here, but I'm going to ask Sean first. Put you right on the spot. What do you think the year and percentage of sales in the comic book industry are actually variants? If you had to guess.
I'll be right back.
In the industry as a whole.
As a whole.
I am going to say a lot.
A lot as in more than 10%?
Way more than 10%.
So you're telling me that more than 10% are done over a cover A?
Oh, yeah.
From a complete run of comics.
If you're talking about variant from the publisher, also like cover B, C, D, E, and ratios plus retailer exclusives?
No,
or
just retailer exclusives.
Just retailer exclusives. You think it's way over 10% of the whole industry?
Yeah.
over Golden Age books, over Silver Age books being sold, Bronze Age books being sold at conventions?
I was looking at it. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Of all comic sales across the entire industry.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, maybe 10%,
yeah,
10, 15%,
exactly.
maybe over the whole industry. If you're talking modern comics, like weekly modern comics, the thing that's like, I don't want to say this too much, but I will say it. The thing that's keeping the industry going, modern comics, right?
Wednesdays, yep.
Wednesday stuff.
Yeah.
It's man, 50% is low, in my opinion.
Right.
It's
so I guess my whole point to asking that question is Sean and James are experts in that field. I'm a retailer who just opens up every day. If I sell a variant, if I sell a regular comic or a golden, I don't distinguish between it, right? Because that's just my daily rhythm.
Yeah.
So I think we're variants and exclusive. Well, we'll stick with variants. I think variants as a whole for a retailer really isn't a focus weekly. It's, I got my books, I got my pull list. Get your books, awesome. Hey, I got this great key book that just came in from 1962, or I got this action figure over here. And so it really depends on the retailer answering this question. So James and Sean would have a better draw on this from their angle. That was my whole point. So
yeah. No, I would say like the Whatnot comic space would be a fraction of what it was if it wasn't for variants. Cover B, C, D, and retailer exclusives combined. It'd be a fraction of what it is. Conventions would be 20-30% less of what they are if it wasn't for retailers that do exclusives for the shows. It's a huge draw in the comic space. So yeah, I don't know what.
This is a great comment by Mike, and I want to see what you guys think about it. And I want to ask Emmett first, because Emmett probably would have the answer that Mike is looking for, and I want to know what I want to know what Emmett thinks on this. Mike says none of the online retailers or variant space has innovated in 10 years. Do you think that's the case, Emmett?
I do. Listen,
why do you think that's the case?
The whole conversation doesn't affect me because I don't do variants, right? It makes a lot of people a lot of money because the margins are insane because they're invented. Everybody yells at me. It's true, but there's people that want them and they're willing to pay that price. That's fine. But if we're talking business, it's an invented margin that is well above, it is expensive to do one. But when you're talking about what the margins are, it's well above the 50% you would get from selling new books. And the people who write and do sequential art do not get the credit that these cover artists get. They're creating the whole book, which brings in the readers who are the long-term customers of this business. We know that people fade in and out that are in this niche. I just bought a huge collection from somebody.
Mhm.
You know, so for me, it's meaningless to me. I mean, I let him get to me with some comments. So he, you know, basically,
But
he won.
you don't think that there's any innovation in the last 10 years from online retailers or the variant space? You don't think there's any innovation?
No, I don't think being able to sell on a different platform than Etcher is innovation. They like to make you think it's innovation.
Okay.
It's not innovation. You're still just selling to people.
Sean, do you think
Well,
that there's been any innovation in the last 10 years from
I guess
online
we need to
retailers or
find-
the variant space?
So
I
I would
mean,
ask.
metal covers.
Well, I would
Well,
ask two. I would ask two questions in response to that. Would be, what do we consider innovation? I know what the definition is. Innovation is doing something new. I mean, for the basic part, right?
Yeah.
Doing something new. When you're talking about innovation in the sales for doing variant covers, you're putting a different piece of art on a comic book and selling it.
Which the
What
company's
kind of
already
what kind of
done.
innovation? What kind of innovation is there? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna sell it standing on my head. I'm gonna sell. We're selling, like Emma said, we're selling a product to a person. Like, what kind of innovation has there been in any resale industry? I mean, you know, you could say people that sell Magic the Gathering haven't innovated. I mean, the same kind of thing. What innovation is there? It's, you're selling a product. So,
Well, I think there's
I mean,
been innovation
arguably, you could
because
say-
I think that, like you said, it's created a new form of retailer. I think that if there wasn't this exclusive variant game, I think that there a lot of the retailers in this game wouldn't be there. Now that can be good and bad because there are some really shit retailers that have made mistakes through the retailer exclusive game. We can talk about Frankie's. We can talk about Unknown Comics, where it's like it's caused problems. The retailer variant game has caused problems with their business. But there's other
Fried pie
innovators.
or
We
pie
look at people
fried.
like Tom and Davis, Trinity Comics, who are making amazing amounts of sales and fans happy with their retailer variants that they do. Do you, and like you said, Sean, I don't think that Whatnot would be as strong as it is, or eBay Live comic wise would be as strong as it is without the variant game. And that's not
No,
just
it'd be
retailer variants, that's just variants, period.
it'd be boring as shit. Everybody just has a $4 cover A, $5 cover A. It'd be super boring.
Uh-huh.
You know.
That's what I sell all day. My shows aren't boring.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
sell
but-
variants, Jesse. You get variants in collections.
On my show?
Yeah, you get variants from other collections.
Maybe
you just
one
showed
out of every 50.
you just showed 5 or 6 last night from Sean's from Comics
Yeah,
Elite.
but I wouldn't put those on a live stream. That's more for
If all you sold in Jesse, if all you sold in streams was cover A's of comic books, you would not have the business. You sell so much stuff, bro. You sell tons of stuff.
I would say cover. You got to keep in mind, I'm selling bronze, silver, golden, more than I.
diversified.
But you
We're
sell
talking
modern
apples and
stuff.
oranges.
You sell
Yeah,
modern.
apples and oranges.
It's
Yeah.
very
I think-
small percent of my percentage. The whole point is I'm trying to make sure that we don't loop everybody into everybody's conversation as
Yeah.
that's how it's done. We all have individual ways on how to sell.
Exactly.
And so when we hear someone say everybody, well, not everybody does it. That's my point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just focus on a box of comics. And if it's a variant, awesome. I'll give you a prime example. I sell a lot of Chromium. Those are cover A's from the 90s. Those aren't variant covers,
hmm
right? So that's my point. Go ahead. Sean.
Okay.
But if there wasn't variants, if everybody was selling exactly what you're selling, you would struggle more than you struggle. Because at the end of the day,
I don't think
you would
I would.
You've made a special product, Jesse.
Right.
Like you are the Jesse James Binge Bar. You are who you are.
Right.
you've built that over years and years and years, and people know what to expect of you from that. If everybody was selling the same thing you were doing, there is bigger personalities in the comic space on
by far. Yeah.
And the competition will be a lot stiffer than it is, but those guys are hyper focused on variants.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
This is another thing I want to bring up, because this was a big topic, and of course we got to throw our former co-host Dennis a little bit of love on this one. You know, he's always talked about the middleman in comics, and that was he gave me the original name of Comic Book Jesus, because he said, I'm going in and I'm flipping all the tax collectors' tables. When I was calling out a lot of the fuckery in the variant game early on. But in this conversation with Mike and everything that I've seen and all the responses and stuff, it's taken on a different take. And this is no longer Jesus flipping the tax collector tables comparison. And it's more along the lines of calling all retailers middlemen while literally operating as retailers themselves. You know, you're talking about becoming your own retailer, Mike, but you're calling retailer middlemen. And I get it. You're no longer, you're the retailer and the artist, but a lot of these retailers out there are middlemen. Dennis himself being a retailer. Is Dennis himself one of the middlemen in the situation? Are all comic retailers middlemen in this situation?
No, not if you're a primary source of sales.
What do you mean?
How would you be a middleman? So if you're the first line of sales, so if you buy from Marvel, new issues, your first line, you're not secondary market. Someone buys from the store and walks outside and sells on whatnot is secondary market.
Yes. So they're calling James a middleman. They're calling Trolls Comics a middleman. Are James and Trolls Comics middlemen?
That's up to James to figure that out.
No. On your point, you said your point. You said they're not buying from the secondary market. Are they considered middlemen?
Well, he's buying an exclusive, which is going directly to him, so he becomes the primary seller. If he sells me some of the exclusives, then we're on second market. So James, as far as I'm concerned, is a retailer selling primary market.
Okay.
Woohoo! I'm a retailer.
But he's technically we're middlemen.
Why?
Everything in Walmart that's not produced from Walmart's company they're a middleman for those products. Q-tips. If Walmart sells
Q-tips, semantics on this one.
No. It's a major point. It's saying our comic shops are middlemen, distributors are middlemen, publishers are middlemen, influencers are middlemen, auction houses are middlemen.
Every car dealership,
whatnot sellers are middlemen. Like that middleman thing.
I think a car dealership would be if you're selling a used car, but if you're selling a car straight.
If I have a Ford franchise and I'm selling product, I buy it from Ford. I don't know the inner workings of the inner dynamics of a car dealership.
You floor plan it.
Yeah. So you're saying that the customer should be buying direct from Penguin?
No, that's what Dennis and Mike are saying. If that these retailers are middlemen. That if retailers are middlemen, then the only way to get rid of those middlemen is get rid of the retailers.
Yeah, no, I think you're confusing wholesale to retail.
Right.
We're wholesale to retail. We're not wholesale retail to secondary market to someone else. So I'm going to go with what I believe, and Sean has his belief on. He thinks he's a middleman, which I don't think he is. I think you're a primary. All your exclusives are primarily to you, right? You're buying direct from the publisher, shipped by the warehouse, which is at wholesale or close to wholesale.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jesse. However, what the other people are saying, like, let's just say what I think I'm getting from Dennis post and from Mike is, and even when they're like, who the fuck is Hive Comics? Has he been here for 3 years? And Dennis is like, exactly. Like, they're championing selling directly to the consumer, artist to consumer.
Well, a lot of them may move that way, but then what the people who really know how to do the game, okay, Mike knows how to do it. He's doing fine. But some of these guys that maybe take that, they leave the guys behind.
Mhm.
You're just going to find different artists that need, like a really great artist isn't like around every other day.
Yeah.
Like,
you know who's been doing this for
This
years
is not
before?
sequentials. Let's
Well,
get
here's
back
a
to
great
that.
question. Here's a great question. This is a comment from Bob Ishus. He says, if Mike was as big as his ego, he wouldn't need Whatnot. That's a great comment. Do you think Mike could do what he does without Whatnot?
No.
Well, why would he though? Whatnot's
Hell
No,
no.
why would he?
Whatnot's a tool.
I
because-
get it. Why
because you're
would he?
not
But I'm
giving up-
asking, would he be
Here's
able
why
to
he
do? Would he be able to be successful without Whatnot?
No. And the reason why he wouldn't
You
is
could go on
because
eBay or one of the other
No,
tools.
no.
Oh, I mean that
He-
live
if-
selling
Right.
without live selling, or you know what I mean?
We saw.
Well,
John
I think
Tyler
you have
Perry
to. I think you have to look at his business plan and what his business plan is on how to reach customers, and if his ways to reach customers, since he's not going to conventions, is live streaming. So I think that would be his primary goal, is to live streaming, and so that kind of makes sense there.
You know who's
It's
big
just
enough?
way
and
too
doesn't
much
need-
focus on cover artists. It's just
You know,
way
No,
too much.
I think that's a much deeper conversation what Emmett's trying to get to, and that's important. I think we need to get to that. You know who's big enough and doesn't need Whatnot? J. Scott Campbell,
Alex
Ross, Bill
John
Sienkiewicz.
Tyler.
These guys do their own variants and they sell out. They don't need Whatnot because
Through
they
their
have a website. They say we're going
They
to do a
have their own
drop,
website.
and
They
they
don't have
sell
to
out.
pay the percentage.
And then Campbell saves a little bit for his gigantic convention display because it's important to him to get out in front of fans. He takes his family, goes on a trip, shows up to the show for a few hours, signs some books, goes away. Wife goes shopping. He goes and signs books,
Right.
whatever.
So can Mike do that in the future?
I
of
don't know if Mike, if he wants to.
If that's what he wants to, if that's his
Yeah.
direction, then yeah.
I would.
So it's attainable.
Yeah, it's attainable.
If guys like Sean and I can successfully run a website and other retailers can successfully run a website, then a creative certainly can. You know.
Yeah, Scotty Young.
Yeah.
You just got to have most of them. It's got to
a market that's going to come find them and seek them out.
Yeah. Again, my whole problem with this whole thing when we first started this was Mike basically saying, "Don't go to cons, stay home. Everybody can do this. You don't need these middlemen. They're just fly by night people. Just want to take
The problem is it's an
you.
ecosystem, man. An ecosystem. That's what you're getting
Right.
at. So if there's no if nobody goes to cons anymore, none of the artists show up, you get less and less people that go to the con. Then there's less and less people in the community. There's less and less people wanting the special books.
Mhm.
It all feeds off each other. I don't do online stuff, but people come in to my shop and they learn about comics and then they get excited about them and then they want to know more about comics. So then they go online and they look and they search and they find Whatnot and they find eBay Live and I have no problem with them buying from online sellers because I don't provide that.
Do you have a problem with
get it
them
from who
buying
they
from
find.
live selling sellers?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
I think it's that's why I love going live on Whatnot. I love hand selling to everyone in my Whatnot room about how great this book is. I just read it. Oh my God, top book of the week. I'll give you a rundown of the story without spoiling it for you. Here's why you need to buy it. I could do that all day. I love that shit. It's awesome.
My
And you know-
philosophy of the business and how the business runs out, they runs counterintuitive. Some people might say.
Mhm.
Right.
Everybody has the right to go and sell whatever they want as long as that platform allows it. Right.
Exactly.
exactly.
Free
Now,
market.
I can disagree with how that it increases the size of the community or decreases the size of the community or does nothing for the community
Right.
on as a philosophical.
Right.
Look.
Well, I think I want to answer the one question about innovation in the retail world. One of the biggest innovations was buy online, pick up in store. It allowed people to have better time management with their life, arrange stuff with their family so they didn't have to go in and shop. They could pre-order, walk in, get it, or have it delivered to the car. The other innovation, and I think the biggest innovation since 2016, is us being able to sell to orphan customers and now allowing orphan customers to be as important as a consumer walking into a store. So those are the two innovations that I look at, is expanding the customer base in ways that people can do it themselves, at their time, at their pace. You know, Sean does 700 shows a week. They get to choose out of those 700 shows which shows they want to watch based on their time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's so much, you know, some of these the loudest voices, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. Some of the biggest voices, not the biggest, the loudest are so hypocritical, it's so easy to see through them. We've already talked about Dennis a couple times. He bitches about how retail exclusives are going to be the end of the industry, and he hates them. But he's going to go on Mike Mayhew's post and suck his dick and tell him how great he is for doing all these retailer exclusives. Make up your mind. Do you like him or do you not like him? You know, and he wants to say, "Oh, we're not retailers. We're middlemen. Cut the middlemen out. Flip the tables. New Jesus, new Jesus." Okay, he's kind of walking that walk because he doesn't sell new comics anymore, but he's also not part of the industry anymore. You know, like he has nothing to do with the industry. He couldn't join this conversation. He hasn't done a retail exclusive in ages. He doesn't even sell new books. Hey, how was your order that came in today? I could talk to Emmett and Jesse about their lunar and diamond shipments. Do you know some new boxes they're using? How'd you think about the way they're packaging any ratios? Get any ratios? We can talk about that. Did you see this weird thing on FOC? Hey, Penguin changed their website around. We can talk about that because we order new comics.
Well,
some people fucking don't.
I got a great question that I want to ask, and I want to ask all the retailers on here. And I'm going to start with Jesse. If every creator goes direct to consumer, what happens to the comic shop ecosystem?
What happens to the comic shop ecosystem is we should always be pivoting in a way and being directional, right? If you create a store that sells comic books as a primary, I don't think you have any problems. I don't have anybody coming into the store asking me if I'm a middleman or a secondary seller. They want comics. So if artists start doing their own books, Marvel still then be doing books. DC still then be doing their own books. Also covers A's and B's all day long. And if I can't get it, guess what? You jump on your computer, you say, okay, Mike has this book for $25. I'm charging $1 service fee. It's then cost $26. You want that shipped to your house or your home? Very plain and simple. We are in a pivoting world. I don't have time to discuss with consumers other things other than selling their comics, unless they want to talk about football or something like that. That's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, let artists, let publishers do as they may. They cannot affect my business. Zero, nada. When Diamond went out, when COVID came out, my business got better.
James, do you think that, is there anything that would happen to the comic shop retailer ecosystem if every creator went direct to consumer? And that means you're not going to be doing variants with any retailers, any creators in the future. They're going to be doing it all themselves.
I think so. I agree with Jesse a lot, and I've taken what Jesse has said to heart years ago, and I have pivoted. I have tons and tons of backstock of. I just picked up a killer gold and silver collection. Like, so for me, if I couldn't do retail variants anymore, I'd be fine. It would redirect the way I do business, but it wouldn't change it. I've managed to be not overly reliant on more than one thing, but people have to keep in mind, I'm also a one-man show. That's going to change by the end of the summer, but for all these years, you know, I had Jonathan as a partner for a while. But for the last, almost 2 years now, I've been a one-man show. I do all packaging and shipping. I do all my order fulfillment. I do all my website. I do all my live sales. I do everything. But because of that, it can be scary.
James, real fast. How long does it take you to package a single comic?
Oh, Jesus.
Never mind. Don't answer that. Go ahead and continue.
Not very long. I'm pretty damn fast at it.
Okay.
I'm pretty fast at it.
Real quick, Mike Mayhew is saying that without electricity, you guys would be losers. Prove me wrong.
We would all be losers, you weirdo. What a weird saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't have fresh food out of a fridge either.
So would you, Mike?
I'd have bigger concerns in my life than selling comics.
Do you have a line of people that drive through your garage through a drive-through to buy your comics? You can do it with a flashlight. That's a weird.
Yeah, he's gonna paint my candlelight. No, Did
you recently start taking mushrooms or smoking weed and you just can't handle it? What kind of weird shit is that?
I think it's important for retailers to be diverse. And so to answer your question, Brian, for me directly, no, it wouldn't impact me. Do I think the economy of comics as a whole, would it impact it? Yes. I think there's people that get into comics. I mean, I can't speak for Sean, but I know this is going to be a fact. There's countless artists that people love and admire in this industry that were not doing comics before Hive asked them, can you do a comic cover? And there's countless people that there's countless writers that were approached by retailers that had cool ideas, or independent publishers whose a lot of their income was from doing variants, and then they started publishing. That those writers we get to thank now, and their fans get to thank the fact that these things, that retail exclusives exist for those people being in the space. That in and of itself, I think, would be, because of that, it would be a huge detriment to the industry in long term. Yeah, for sure. But me as a business, it wouldn't affect me.
Sean,
it would have a huge impact on the industry.
what about you?
What would happen,
you in general?
me?
Yeah.
I would just go back to doing my own publishing. Yeah, it would. I mean, I just started doing exclusives again by taking some of 616 and doing my own, hosting my own. I just started again because it just started getting popular again on with Whatnot and the website. Again, a year ago, we would not be having this conversation. Mike would not be having this kind of. If it wasn't for Absolute Batman, we would not be having this conversation. The majority of Mike's covers, and Mike can tell me if I'm wrong, the most of his hits, his sellouts have been Absolute Batman. 100%. So, and what happens when that's not popular anymore? Then, people Mike's going to come crawling back to a retailer and say, hey man, you want to take some of my print run? So, and in the big picture, if all artists started doing their own exclusives and someone's perfect Shangri-La, there's no more middlemen, hooray. What's going to happen is this, just like Whatnot is flooded with sellers selling comic books, and some of these guys have, oh shit, is that the Big Clutch? What's up?
What's up, bitches?
Just like Whatnot's flooded with retailers selling exclusives, and some of them have 2 or 3 people in a room and they can't make it. Whatnot's going to be flooded with artists doing their own exclusives, and it's not like it's going to be everyone's just banging down the doors to get to them, and I have to buy all their. No, that's going to be flooded. There's going to be people with 3 people in the room. Mike doesn't want that either, because that's going to directly compete with his business model. It's going to cut out some of his industry also. If let's, I don't know, pick the top 10 guys. If let's just say Campbell and Brooks and
Scotty Young,
Alex Ross, Scotty Young, if they all got on Whatnot, watch Mike Mayhew's market share go because he's competing with these guys now. I don't like being live when Comic Tom's live. He sucks the air out of the Whatnot room, and I'm like, shout
out to Flops Comics, who says, "Oh great, Clutch is here, so I can once again be jealous of his grifter mask." So there you go.
It's so awesome.
What do you think about this whole thing, Clutch? I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
Oh man, dude, I'm so out of my element on this one, guys, because I am a fake retailer all day, every day. Army of one. Let's go, James. James, my guy. We're doing it.
We're all fake retailers.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Whatever, Mike. Chill, bro. That's all I can say, dude. Like, we're all trying to do our best, dude. You didn't get here by yourself. I'm glad you're making it, but Sean, Army, by the way, League of Sean's. Sean said it all and said it the best before. So, period.
I like that.
By the way, I just wanted to come in and promo for tomorrow. Big guests on Beyond Wednesdays tomorrow night, guys. Come check it out. We'll see you then. Later. Love you guys. By the way, you get the best.
Hold on. Say
Jesse,
that one more time.
Emmett, you guys are the best. Sean, you're the best.
Thanks, man.
Love you guys.
Later, bro.
Love you,
Robert
Clutch.
Kirkman tomorrow night on the show, you guys.
That's awesome. So cool.
Who was that again? Robert who? Kirkman? Okay. I'll definitely tune in. Robert Kirkman will be on tomorrow.
We would go in like 2010, 2012, when they were doing the image conventions, how many people would walk up to him and start talking to him, and then Sean would say, you do know I'm not Robert Kirkman, right? Because they're the same height, they're the same weight, the same
Kirkman. Yeah. Trust me, I get that messed up all the time too.
They need those pins to say not the creator, not the artist, not the writer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like when people mistake Kurt Angle action figures for Sean. It's that type of thing.
Well, I want to jump this to one quick another quick point, okay? And there was an email sent out by Scott Snyder today, talking to all the retailers, which was very, very interesting. So I want to read this email real quick, and then I want to talk about it, because this, again, we've gone from that original Robert Kirkman clip that we played at the beginning, where he talked about getting people into the comic shop and how important it is to him as a comic creator. And we've had this huge contrast with what Mike has kind of said over this week. And then we have this email that's sent out by Scott to retailers. Here's what it says.
Just so you know, it came out on Brian just fast. It came out on Friday.
Okay.
Just
May 19th. Yeah. So, hey, folks, please forgive the big email, but I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for all the support this past year on Absolute Batman, the Absolute Universe, and the whole DC line, honestly. Nick and I have gotten to visit a lot of stores this past year, and we see how hard you work and how hard this all can be. You guys are on the front lines, and the energy and enthusiasm you've thrown behind our book, we don't know how to say thank you enough, truly. Full disclosure, though, this is also an Eisner email, the one I just can't not send this year. And the reason is Nick and the team. The amount of work Nick Dragotta and Frank Martin and has put into Absolute Batman this year, inspiring doesn't do it justice. The designs Nick creates, the panel-to-panel storytelling, the passion and creativity he brings, and the frank elatives. It's awesome, and it's made me a better writer just for being around it. And these guys do it under tremendous pressure, way more than any of us ever expected the book to come with. The truth is, when we started, our big hope with the series, along with the other absolutes, would maybe do well enough to survive in the midst. And this was the goal. A year and a half later, the support Absolute Batman has found is beyond thrilling, and I know the team is incredibly grateful for it, but it also can be a lot to handle. Way more pressure on Nick and company than on me, but they meet the moment every issue and surpass it, and I'm honored and grateful to make this book with them. So the ask, and I hate to ask because there are so many amazing creators nominated this year, many of them good friends, and I know how busy you are as a retailer, and that voting isn't always something you do. But if you could, I'd really appreciate if you'd consider voting for Absolute Batman this year, especially for Best Continuing Series. Nick and Frank, who were not nominated for interior art or coloring, so this is the award that they would celebrate all the craft and dedication, all the day in and day out work, and the work everyone on the team puts alongside them. To get to see that and share that with them, it would mean a ton to me personally. Nick is also nominated for Best Cover Artist, and I ask you please consider voting for him there. The annual is up for Best Single Issue. Clayton Cowles is also up for Best Letterer. And lastly, I'm nominated for Best Writer. Again, I apologize for the big email. I want to pretend these things don't matter, but being honest, the book something a lot on the team. I don't know what he meant to say there. And they have their work recognized by the community. It does matter to me and to us, and I'd be deeply, deeply grateful. Here's the link to vote. Very interesting email from Scott Snyder that really kind of is the polar opposite of this energy on the Mike Mayhew situation. You know, he repeatedly thanks retailers and acknowledges how hard comic shops work and retailers work. He calls retailer the front lines of the industry. He frames Absolute Batman's success as something built with retailers, not despite them. He praises the creativity of the team constantly instead of making it about himself. He openly admits they expected Absolute Batman to maybe only survive a mid title. He talks about the pressure successes put on creators and asks retailers to support the team through Eisner voting. And the overall tone is very humble, collaborative, grateful, and community focused. Very interesting. You know what I mean? And Mike's takes are very like retailers are tourists, middlemen, and creators should stop needing them. Where Scott's takes are like, we need retailers. We appreciate retailers. Retailers help build this success. There's a huge contrast. And I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on that type of email. Jesse, you were the one that sent me this. What are your thoughts on it? You're mute. You're mute. You're mute.
I'm sorry what happened. I had to mute because I freaked out. I forgot that I had to put in for my Eisner nomination, and it's due on the 29th. I freaked out. I thought I missed it. So
You can vote for
anyway.
yourself. I got to put mine in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So there's this whole thing that winners should never have to apologize for being winners, right? But there's also thing that when you're confident that you have given back to your community, it's always easy to ask for a vote. And that's what he's basically saying. I am confident enough to come out and ask you to vote for me because I know that I have given all I can to not just retailers, but the community, the industry, and of course the fans. So I think this was a great letter. Listen, he had to take time out of his day to do it. And I think it's much appreciated because we do get a lot of emails that say buy, 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 buy.
Yeah.
And that's
Emmett,
all they say is buy this.
you've had Scott in your store a couple of times. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on Scott's email?
Scott's a huge supporter of retailers, all retailers, whether online or in brick and mortar. He signed at my store for 2 hours. So by what? For free. So by the, what Mike said, stop giving double. It's hard to double zero. You get nothing. So yeah, he's always been a supporter, and that's why the fans flock to him. And it looks like, he's kind of in the catbird state. He's making a lot of products that Mike can make a lot of money on. Maybe he could get some more work if he did sequentials.
Regardless of how creators feel about retailer exclusives and online retailers, incentives, the modern comic commerce, all that stuff, comic shops are still the physical backbone of the industry, at least in thought, right? In thought process. We haven't got to that point where people are thinking that most of the retailers are online retailers. I don't know what's the difference, how many online retailers are there where they have no storefront compared to how many are just storefront retailers that have no online retailer type thing. It'd be very interesting to know that. I don't think there's a way to know that. But Scott's email feels kind of like someone who understands the comics in an ecosystem, and he should be this, it's a perfect example of why he needs to be one of those main executives in the DC partnership, to be calling shots over there. Retailers, creators, distributors, fans, live stream sellers, influencers, publishers, everybody is interconnected now. Whether people want to believe it or not, in my opinion, they're all interconnected. And it's very interesting to kind of the vast majority of the sentiment of Mayhew is that creators are good and retailers are bad, where Scott's approach feels like we all succeed together or fail together. And that almost feels a lot like Robert's approach too. What are your thoughts on that, Sean?
I think that was the totally separate vibe from what Mike's post was. It was, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. It's just Scott's vibe. He's so grateful for all the success. And you get the feeling that Scott understands this could all go away tomorrow. He was top of the world when Death Metal came out. Death Metal 2, probably not so much. Then he kind of went away doing other things in his independent projects. I'm sure the money was nowhere near what it was during his Death Metal days. Now he's back to having huge lines at conventions, private signings. We're about to do a private signing with him on Saturday in Las Vegas. He goes to cons. He appreciates all of his fans. You can hear countless stories of people saying, I had a great talk with him. He did a free remark for me. He did this for me. He did that for me. He's so grateful. Honestly, the vibe of Mike's was not anything of gratitude. It was entitlement and look at me, I'm flexing how great I am. That's the vibe I got. So, that's my opinion.
Yeah. James, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I don't think I could say it any better than what Sean just said. You know, the only other piece I'll add to this is like I think we all owe Snyder a debt of gratitude at this point. So like
Yeah.
Saving the industry pretty much.
You know, there's something
I got
very
Or at least setting it on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got very fortunate that last year I was like, I'm going to do a full rebuild after the buyout of Jonathan. I'm like, I'm going to do a full rebuild. I'm going to take a year off from doing variants and focus on diversifying, you know, taking after Jesse's. I mean, I spoke to Jesse directly about it, was like, dude, I'm buying collections now. I'm diversifying, like you said. And it ended up being the greatest thing I ever could have done. I got lucky. Because if we'd gone at it last year like we had years prior, man, I might not be sitting here as a retailer. So at least not selling comic. I mean, I could sell like feet picks or whatever, but you know, totally different business and industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't say it any better than what Sean said. Honestly, it's that there was a different level of professionalism that was shown. So
Yeah. Amen. I've been saying it for a long time on this channel. I think that the two guys that have really put the comic industry on their back more than anybody out there, and I'm not taking away from anybody out there, I'm just saying it feels like these guys have been the reason that comics are doing so well more than anybody out there, is Robert Kirkman with the Energon universe, Invincible, all that stuff, and Scott Snyder with the Absolute universe. I feel like those two guys have said, you know what? When Mark Miller kind of came out in his video with the whole thing a few years ago, where he said, you know, I feel like a bunch of the creators who did so well need to come back to the big two or the big three every couple of years, and it is their duty to, you know, come back and write something well to help the comics industry. And I feel like Robert and Scott really heard that, and if they didn't hear it, it was put in the collective unconscious and grabbed by them in some way, and they kind of put the industry on their back. We look at Transformers, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, Battle Beast, Invincible, Absolute Universe. You know, all those things have just really helped comics in a major way over the last 3 or 4 years now. It's been fun to watch, and it's been fun to like, as a nostalgia driven collector and fan, to watch what Robert has done with the Energon universe, and then to see what Scott has done and changed the Batman universe, and, you know, done his thing. It's very humbling, and I can't say enough for those guys. Real quick, I want to run through some of the super chats before we get on to our next topic. I want to run through some of the super chats and some of the things, some of the support that's been going on the channel tonight. Real big shout out to Ken on Base for the $4.99 super chat. He says, are you guys seeing a significant number of new buyers and faces personally in your stores and streams off the Absolute success? Jesse.
Well, almost said the wrong word there. It is very, very cool to see a young base come into your store, a demographic you traditionally don't see. Because you have your people that traditionally just collect Batman, but you're seeing this new generation, and this new generation not only comes in and buys Absolute Batman, they see media in the store, they see our DVDs, our VHS players, our VHS tapes, anime. So you have all these crossovers. So I think you're seeing a huge influx of customers, but I think it's our job not to sell them Absolute Batman. They're already sold on that. Our job is to sell more product.
Well, you've had something very interesting. Clay Mann, one of the main Absolute Batman cover artists that has really taken off because of Absolute Batman, is a regular in your store, and I found that very interesting too. That was kind of cool to hear that Clay comes in your store and likes to buy old Gru issues.
Yeah, old Gru, and he loves the 90s section. We built that section just for him.
Yeah. Emmett, what are your thoughts on the Absolute universe? Have you seen new faces and new customers because of Absolute?
Yeah. So before Absolute, we were struggling to get over 30 subscribers. I'm in a very small market. We now have 64, and almost all of them are getting something from the Absolute.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
30 new readers since it started.
Did you hear that, Scott Snyder and crew, Nick Dragotta and crew over Absolute? That's a big deal to have a store say that they've more than doubled their subscriber box holders because of Absolute. That's a big deal.
Oh, I don't feel it. I know it. It's 100%. They came in when Absolute, most of them strolled in like after Wednesday when Absolute 1 came out, and they're like, oh, I want to get that new Absolute Batman thing. It's starting out. It's something I can start with. And I'm like, well, you missed. It's sold out, but we'll figure it out. We'll get you something, and you can start with issue 2. And then they were like, well, what else is going on? I'm like, the whole Absolute universe is starting. You better jump on now. So
That's sick.
then they were like, well, give me all the Absolutes, and then I'll figure out which ones I like and I don't like. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Sean,
cool.
what are your thoughts? Have you seen a difference especially in your live selling? You talk about how much that's changed, the difference between live sellers, online sellers, in-store buyers, what have you seen because of Absolute on your sales?
It's changed everything. We constantly have every stream, no matter where we're at least every 30 minutes, a new person shows up asking for some back issues. They don't want to pay a fortune for them because they're trying to read it. We always offer them the trade. Most times, I've never had a trade market. I sell those trades. Absolutely. They can't put them up fast enough. My guys already want the hardcover deluxe slipcase edition. I'm like, slow down, guys. It's not even, it's changed everything. And especially in the exclusive world, it's just, I feel like it's kind of, fading a little bit. The hype it kind of peaked with Poison Ivy, I think.
I think the next issue is going to blow up.
Yeah. And then,
and Penguin,
Clayface, how much
Absolute Green Arrow.
It's just the perfect storm. Absolute line plus pretty girl covers. Guys like Mayhew, that's their specialty. I mean, don't get me wrong, he did that terrifying cover of the first Joker. So Joker, Poison Ivy. Now we're into Two-Face and Penguin. They're just not the super strong sellers. The Scarecrow covers.
I think Two-Face is going to be a super strong seller. I think that design is very cool. That Yakuza.
Yeah, the redesign.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. James,
I just think we're on the backside of those, but yeah, it's fantastic.
James, you've got an interesting take on a lot of this that a lot of these other retailers don't. Sean did early in his career. I feel like Comics Elite kind of had their start in going to cons and getting their customers things at cons that you're not able to do because of that. Have you seen like a jump in your sales from customers asking, hey, I can't go to this con, but can you get me this Absolute signed? Like, have your signatures levels in your grading, signature series grading, has that changed in your business?
Oh, definitely. A lot of it is, I would say, like with MegaCon, I think 30% of the books that I was getting signed for customers was Absolute Batman related. It was, or pickups that I've got a very small, don't everybody in the chat think you can hit up Hive Comics for, hey, pick me up this stuff. There's the people that can know who they are. I don't offer that for very many people, but I do, I do offer getting stuff signed. I've got great facilitators that go with me, or witnesses. I'm a CGC facilitator. I've been for a couple of years now. But yeah, I mean, the uptick has been pretty remarkable in that aspect. And then same with live sales. I can't, like Sean's, the happiest day I've had in months was when I found, so starting with issue 2, I really liked the ratios. So I was like, I'm going to buy 25 of everything all the way up until I think issue 10. And then I peaked down a little bit. I couldn't find any of those damn books. And then I found them a few weeks ago. So I had issues 2 through 10, 25 copies. And boy, that's been nice. That covered a couple of exclusives. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But
hell yeah,
it's
bro.
been great. It's been good for the industry. I think we knew it was good for the industry when we had writers and heads of other publishing companies coming out and saying that Absolute Batman is great for the industry.
Well, that's a
You know what I
great
mean?
point. Put a pin in that. We're going to talk about that in a second. That's a great point. Real quick, shout out to Alex Lodemeyer, one of our great mods. He dropped 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to Big Clutch, who dropped a super chat saying 250 people watching live and just 67 likes. Come on, smash that like. Please hit that like button, you guys. It really helps. He also dropped 50 gifted memberships as well. And Official Music Pub dropped 20 gifted memberships. And then El Jefe, 1981, donated a $20 super chat. He said, Mike, do you have employees? If not, wait till you do. Then you will know true numbers. That's a great point. I would love to know if Mike has employees, you know. Shout out to Big Clutch again for the membership gifted. El Jefe also said with a $20 super chat, he said, KRS is the best in the industry. Jose, best hands on whatnot. And I can't disagree. I love KRS Comics. Chris and Jose are two of my like really good guys in the industry. And I can't say how much respect enough about how much respect I have for those guys. He also dropped a couple of super chats before that, and Retro Days also dropped a super chat. Appreciate that. Drinks on me. You guys, the support for the channel has been absolutely crazy over the last 2 months. I felt like just the other day we were talking about how we're close to 5,000 subs. This is a current live look on our sub count. 6,775 subs. We're about to hit 7,000 subs. And I can't thank you guys enough for your support. For our members and our members only, we're going to start doing some things where I just jump on the Discord and I'm going to only allow, there's this cool little app where I can say, okay, only allow members to come hang out in this VC or this live video. And I'm going to start doing more of that. So if you're a member and you see me jump up on a members only live stream, I'll start putting the link in those members only live streams so you can jump on and, we can do a question and answer period. And you guys know me, I'm honest to a fault. So I'm always down for ask me anythings or anything like that. It'll be on members only moving forward. And not only that, I want to give a big shout out to our retailer sponsors who have been lately really important to the channel. A big shout out to Hive Comics, Comics Elite, Dynamite Comics, and we got a couple other working in the midst, but those three retailers especially, if you use the code BEYOND10 on their websites, you'll get 10% off any of the product you have, and sometimes it might be even more. It might be 15%, it might be 20, you never know. But Beyond 10 is the code, you guys, moving forward. Try to utilize that on your local retailers. We got some more we're going to announce soon. I've got to talk to a couple of people, but shout out to those retailers for doing that and supporting the channel. I can't thank them enough. All right, moving forward, I said put a pin in it about James talking about how other executives and retailers and creators talking about how important Beyond or Absolute is for them. Did you guys get any chance to see this podcast where Brad Winderbaum jumped on with the Escape Pod? Did you guys have a chance to see this at all?
No.
So this is the new Marvel boss, Brad Winderbaum, and he went on this podcast and basically said that Absolute Batman is his favorite superhero over Spider-Man, and he's getting ready to take over Marvel Comics, which is amazing.
Holy shit.
Right? How crazy is that?
That's crazy, man.
Isn't that nuts?
Very crazy.
Yeah, wow.
That's like next level type stuff. So
at least he's paying attention to comics.
Yeah.
That shows he's a comic fan. Like that.
Yeah,
maybe he's going to want some writing that matches it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Who's that dude that used to work at Marvel Studios and he said who was it? Alex Alonso like intentionally said like don't read the comics and screw the comics, we're doing our own thing. Like hopefully this guy can counter that.
This is a big deal because this is Marvel Entertainment recently had another like executive restructuring internally, and they've kind of continuing the trend of the Walt Disney Company type thing. And a lot of longtime comic fans and retailers have been watching closely because Marvel already feels increasingly corporate driven, right? I mean, over the last couple of years, they feel more corporate driven than any other retailer or any other publisher, in my opinion. And many fans believe editorial direction has become less creator focused and that there are more concerns about synergy with the movie and TV affecting comics. And now the head of those movie and TV things is now the head of comics over there. Is Marvel becoming too corporate for you guys? What is your thoughts on the whole Marvel thing? Jesse, I'd love to know your thoughts.
Coming from corporate, it's all about bringing in the bean counters and learning what your turn rates, your sell throughs are, and your bottom lines. And I don't think that's ever been done before, and it's never been done publicly. And I think what you're going to see is there's going to be a business-driven way to sell more books to a wider base of consumers that just aren't comic book fans. And I think that is the whole job of him coming in. It's every salesperson is taught if someone comes in and, is a fisherman, you love fishing. And this is where you like to fish at. If you like the heat, you love living in Phoenix, Arizona. And that's all he did was he just pinpointed something that's very successful. And hey, if you like absolute Batman, folks, which I like, wait till you see what we have. So that's a great marketing tool that they did there.
Yeah, real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Rye, who just dropped 50 gifted memberships and also dropped a $10 super chat. He says, I want to say what's up. I am watching but breaking down a literal mountain of cardboard boxes. We feel your pain, brother. I think everybody on this panel feels your pain right now. And shout out to my boy Lord Zero with the $10 super chat. He says, Batman will always be the GOAT. Always. Appreciate you, brother. Sean, what are your thoughts on the whole Marvel thing? And do you have any thoughts on it? I mean, this is pretty interesting to see a TV and movie guy now taking over the comics thing. He's not a comics guy that's taking over comics. That's kind of scary.
It's scary, but it's also exciting, I guess. Like, we've had a comics guy doing comic stuff. Like, I don't know who's like, I want less corporate stuff in Marvel. Like, it feels like DC is less corporate. Scott Snyder is clearly the GOAT over there. Not maybe GOAT, but he is the man over at DC. It's almost like Jim Lee who? Jim Lee what?
Mm-hmm.
What's just perception from where I'm sitting. We finally got Hush Part whatever out this
Today,
week.
yeah.
And clearly Jim
163.
Lee's just been drawing connecting covers instead of drawing and covers for John Delmayan for his book instead of drawing the freaking interiors of Hush to get it out.
Yeah, but he did do a watercolor cover of Supergirl, so
But you also have to be able to notice talent, to be able to have taste, right? Just because you're an artist doesn't mean you have any taste.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and honestly, one of the covers, Catwoman looks like freaking Mecha Neck. That neck is so long. It's ridiculous. Anyway, but it feels less corporate in DC Comics, where Scott Snyder is clearly a cheerleader for his properties. He's championing the books out there. He's accessible to fans. He's accessible to retailers. He's out there. Who do we have from Marvel that's doing that? Nobody. CB Cebulski is nowhere to be found. I don't know where that dude is. He doesn't. I don't know. And there's still the writing is terrible at Marvel right now. It's like they just don't care about the fans, the comic fans. It just feels too, we got to coordinate this release of Daredevil with the series. Great. Super glad they're doing that. We've been screaming for them to do that for years, right? When they were terrible at doing that during the Infinity War days. Terrible at it. Now they're finally aligning the drops to what's happening with the TVs and movies. But what about everything else? Anyway, I want less corporate in the comics, and it feels like Marvel is way too corporate to me.
James, do you have any thoughts on this whole thing with a Marvel lately?
I mean, just that I hope that we see some positive change over there. I mean, I haven't been excited about much that they're doing over there in a while. And if this proves to be a positive change, then I think everyone will be happy for it. You know?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that
I miss good Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. The problem to me is that what I've seen come out from Marvel lately has been really not good. And Emmett and Sean, I don't know about James and Jesse, but I know Emmett and Sean, you've kind of been reading quite a bit lately, especially Sean. I know you've been very big on reading a lot of the recent books. And Marvel feels like it's lacking big time. And we've got this new update about Midnight coming across where it's all the Marvel characters, but it's horror characters. And like, it just feels so, it's very lacking. Like we've already seen that in Marvel 10 different times and it doesn't feel like anything new. Now I could, you know, be eating crow here in a little bit and it's really good, but you know, I'd love to know your thoughts on where Marvel is going to reading wise, you know, Sean and Emmett. And I'll start with you, Sean. What are your thoughts on lately on Marvel's actual reading?
It's bad. I mean, we know this. Wolverine is unreadable because he doesn't act like the characters we know and love. X-Men, Gail Simone is cramming so many new characters in there that nobody gives a crap about. It doesn't feel like the X-Men. Zdarsky's Captain America is one of the best things going. Infernal Hulk is really good, but it's really slow right now. The last 3 issues have been kind of a snooze fest with Infernal Hulk. They just need something to ignite this whole. They had it with the Ultimate Universe. I mean, I love the Ultimate Universe. Ultimate Endgame was good, but it wasn't packaged right. You know, if it's a perfect example of a really good story, and it did have variant covers, but it's a really good story. Why isn't it selling better? So, arguably, everything's subjective, right? But Ultimate's universe, the whole thing they did with Spider-Man, everything
started out a house of fire, then they put the fire out and waited till the end to really catch again. It went to sleep by issue 10.
Great point. Great point.
Most
Emmett.
of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it reminded me, I was wondering if Donnie Cates was back.
Hey, Emmett, you just brought up a great point right there in Donnie Cates too. Marvel, you want to change some things? Figure out a way to get Donnie Cates back. Like if you got to put him in rehab and say, hey, while you're in rehab, like start writing some stuff, but we need Donnie Cates on Amazing Spider-Man ASAP. ASAP.
Yeah. Well,
he needs a partner.
Yes.
He needs somebody with him, either an artist or another writer that can get him to focus on a fucking ending.
Hey, I'm not saying
Like,
how
do we get out of this?
I'm not saying I'm a good life coach, but I have helped at least 5 other people and myself get through addiction. And hey, I would love to talk to Donnie Cates if I can. Like Donnie, we'd love to have you on the show, man. If you're willing to come on a show and talk, I would love to do a one-on-one interview with you, man, and get really deep into all of it. Because if we can get Donnie Cates figured out, and you know. I'm a little selfish here in saying that I want to get Donnie Cates back in comics, but I want to get Donnie Cates, you know, just healthy and back in everything. And if we can get him, you know, figured out some way, I'm down to help any way I can. So
Daredevil's a little too young. Daredevil's really good, but it's only 2 issues in. So, you know, it's still character building and stuff. So I think that's one of their better titles that's selling better.
Do you guys think Marvel is too corporate?
I think that if you mean that the top doesn't know how to do it and who they've hired, they just trust because the numbers don't go down. They just kind of, but I don't see how you'd be happy with that.
Right.
Right.
Do you guys know who Howard White is?
No.
No.
Give us
So
an
Howard
idea.
White is pretty much the first guy to pitch Jordan's shoes.
See the Nike guy, the guy that owns Nike?
No, he doesn't own Nike. He was kind of the pitch man for the Nike shoes.
Was he in the movie?
No. So you know how many games of basketball he played?
0.
Professional?
0.
Zero. So again, you don't have to know comics to be corporate. You have to know your demographics and how to expand it. That's all they have to do is how do you expand your brand to new buyers who are going to be long-term buyers. So is that good stories, or are we talking about great covers? Because that's what we technically talked about the first hour. So I think you got to look at both angles, and you got to get people in there that know how to sell, promote, market, and do it all the following week.
Does constant executive turnover hurt long-term storytelling in comics? Emmett, what are your thoughts?
No, if they put the right people in the right jobs. Like Sobalski's still there. There's been no turnover there. I mean, that's the first guy that should have went. The other people they got rid of were incidental. They're not like people who are choosing the
David
writers.
Gabriel, like David Gabriel was such a great fan of the comic community and the comic shop, world.
But if the whole community says your stories are bad, but the people who are picking the people that do the stories keep their job, it's business as usual. Everything's going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just way too safe. Spider-Man's too safe, boring as shit.
Yeah, there's no stakes. They keep away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, they're doing a hard. Yeah.
Emmett, all the people that came in complaining about David Gabriel too, wasn't that crazy? No one knows who these guys are, right?
No, but we're the industry. We're the industry of comics show, and that's one of our topics. So that's we're definitely going to talk about David Gabriel. He was such a big part of the industry.
Yeah. He was really good for the industry. I think they were just seeing he's getting top pay in a position he's been in for a long time, and that was a corporate style. And he's not really going to affect what they felt was he's not really going to affect. Getting rid of him is not really going to affect their sales.
Oh, no.
What about comics being an IP farm moving forward? Because it feels like, that's what a lot of things that they're saying with Marvel is that Marvel is just an IP farm.
Well, that's how comics survive.
Yep.
If they weren't an IP farm, there would be no comics.
Nope.
They do not make any money. Hello.
Well,
comics make no money. Zero.
Emmett, when do you think the last time it was that comic shops made money off of new comics? Do you think it was ever?
The 90s.
In the 90s.
In the 90s, when they were able to sell 1 million copies. They need that volume. The margins are so small, you need volume.
Because you've said on the show, Emmett, multiple times that selling as a comic shop owner, selling new comics doesn't make money for you.
No, it's a lost leader.
Yeah, it is a lost leader.
It brings people through my shop from Wednesday to Sunday every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
But people who are hooked on it, then they're like, oh, well, I have a guy that's just started reading comics and he's, probably in his mid-20s. And now he wants to go back and read the old stuff. Yep. Well, now I get to sell him, runs.
Yep.
At $2 a book that I have, 15 cents in.
DC has put out those compact things, and Marvel, I don't think, has done anything like that. Do you think Marvel understands comic book shop culture anymore? Do you think that they understand what you're talking about, where these young guys want to come in and read the old stuff? And we see DC putting out all those compact things, and they're putting out way more.
Followed that. Image followed that. All the Invincibles are like that. Now I'm selling the Invincibles, those compacts like crazy.
Yep.
And they're charging more than DC, and they're thinner.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can't make money on them.
What's your margin on the compacts, both DC and Image? Are they decent?
Like $5.
50%.
50%.
$5.
Which means how much? What are they selling for on average? Both of them.
They're $10, $9.99.
So you're making $5 on the DC. What about the Image ones?
I think the Image is $12.99 or $14.99. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's right in there.
And the notion is we're turning a lot of them.
Yeah.
So the volume is much more.
Are you selling many compacts, Jesse?
Yes, yes. And believe it or not, we put in our anime section. That's where we get most our sales from is they're like, what's this? You know,
Smart.
they'll grab that Joker
smart.
book like right off the bat.
That's very interesting that you're
Yep.
putting those in
Yep.
the anime section. That's something for
Yep.
the retailers. to
I've
maybe think
sold
of.
more DC compacts than trades in my whole 12 years.
That's wild, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
We actually
Over
got a
200 of them, and I have to reorder them all the time.
Yeah, we sell a lot on Whatnot. Not so many on our website, really, surprisingly, but we actually have to raise the price by $1. I'm like, look, guys, they're $11 on Whatnot because of the
Whatnot,
loss. You know,
Right.
their
they're
commission
30
and
cents
the
plus
seller's
their
commission. Yeah,
10.
I can't make $2 on $5.
Right. Do you show this? Do you mention the size of the book, Sean, when you're on Whatnot at all? Do you compare
Oh
it
yeah,
to
we
a
show them
regular
live.
comic book?
I got a big old section. We show them live. We thumb through it, open it up, show it to them. Yeah, it's really good.
Yep.
That's good for us. They're great.
So
the
another.
margin, so no,
Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just gonna say, on a $5 book, I have a whole nother show. I have a 55% discount at Image in DC. If I sell a $5 book on Whatnot, my profit is $1.36. I spent $2.50 to make $1.36. Sounds great, right? Emma was talking about volume. Even if you sell out 90% of your product, which nobody does, that's an amazing sell-through rate, right?
Yep.
You're still going to make on 500 comics, you're going to make maybe $300 a week because the unsold product eats up all your profit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to do a whole thing about this for anybody thinking about selling new comics or Whatnot. Don't freaking do it.
There we go.
But
Keep
it
an
makes
eye
sense
on
if you
Sean's
have
stuff.
back stock that you can use that as a bridge to get people into the back stock.
Right.
Or
Or
if you're
food-
seeing
or
a
food.
lot of people coming into your new book sales,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and you pepper that with the secondary market stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Emmett said, it's got to be a loss leader, but you got to understand how to do that on Whatnot.
Yeah, and loss leader doesn't always mean you lose money. I happen to lose money on it. It's not really worth talking about. It's under $200. That's not real money. Like, I know people are having a hard time. Economy's bad, and they're like,
No, in the business, that's not
$200 is
Right.
can get you a far way. If your business depends on that $200, you better hustle harder. But I'd have to give up new comics if it meant that $200.
This is a
And I
great
probably
comment.
would. I'd pivot.
This is a great comment from E-Lemon. He says, I stopped buying comics in 2018. The Absolute Universe got me back in deep. My DC and Image short boxes are stacked, full of runs and variants. Marvel isn't really doing it for me right now. So great
Same.
comment from a retailer
Right.
out there.
We
Same,
haven't.
girl.
I grew up a Batman fan, and I was not excited. I've not been excited about a Batman title in years and years.
Yeah,
and
since
years
Snyder and
years. I
Capullo,
wasn't
in my
even-
opinion. Yeah.
brother, I wasn't even excited about Absolute Batman. It wasn't until after issue 1 came out and everyone was like, holy shit, have you read it yet? Like, I had customers hit me up like, have you read it yet? Have you read it yet? And I'm like, no. Did you order any? No. Like, I think I had ordered issue 2 because like I said, I liked the ratio, but like I wasn't big into it. And then immediately when they announced the second print of issue 1, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy some of those. And I read it and I got excited again. And I think that's kind of where he's coming from, is like a lot of us that liked Batman was our guy. That's our cape. That's the guy that we gravitated towards. We haven't had shit to be excited about in a long fucking time. And a lot of us have now come back into it, because of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an avid Batman reader again. So,
Well, another big story in the industry is this news out of Dark Horse. And for retailers, this is kind of a big thing because Dark Horse is shutting down the remaining Things from Another World, or TFAW, as most of us know, the retail stores, after already shutting down the online store last year. This includes the famous Universal City Walk location, and it comes during a major reconstruction after Dark Horse founder Mike Richardson was pushed out earlier this year. The parent company, Embracer Group, has been consolidating and reconstructing, and Dark Horse is now shifting focus towards games, film, TV, IP expansion. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Jesse, is this another sign that comic retail is struggling, or what do you see out of this?
I think this is a company being smart and looking at the future of their ideology of their own company, not the industry, not where the industry is going, but their ideology of their own company makes sense for this particular store to do what they're doing, or this particular brand to do what they're doing. They understand there's a big market for that, and not a lot of publishers spend enough time on it. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to turn this around and really make this a bigger part of their business.
Well, something that's interesting about that is that losing Things from Another World feels symbolic, because comic shops built Dark Horse. Like, Dark Horse is known because comic shops built that brand. Dark Horse is a big deal in the world of comics for the independent brand, independent creators, being in comic shops. Emmett, what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Who's getting all their inventory?
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
I was thinking
that.
that too.
That's a great comment. Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to liquidate it because I don't think they want to store it. I don't know if they're going to run a whatnot show and hire a guy until they sell out of it. That would probably be the smart thing to do. They would probably make a lot more money that way. But yeah, I'm sure that they just want to get rid of it. So I mean, it's a pretty far drive for me, but I'm up for it.
Do you think that this shows how hard it is to survive as a physical store or a physical retailer in 2026?
No, I'm doing better than I have ever done. Period. It is insane. Every week breaks last week. Every month breaks last month.
Yep.
But bro, you're a totally different model than these guys, for example.
I'm sure they have all the stuff in there. I mean, they probably have more toys than me.
Do you think they have? Do you think that they have like physical media, like the dying physical media, like vinyls or tapes or VHS?
No, but they definitely have a lot more. I don't do board games, and they do have their own board games. So I'm sure they had board games, and I don't know if they had a space to play them. The other thing is the longer you keep people in the store, the more they spend. I mean, that's a business 101. So if you have something that keeps them in the store,
I lock the door behind them.
Sometimes it's just conversation, right? You start talking about what they like, comics and this comics, and then you mention a comic, and they go, "Oh, what comic is that? I never heard of that." And then you just walk them over. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the guys that come in. Hey, do you have Aliens figures and Predators figures? Absolutely. And by the time they go look at that, you got a whole stack of Aliens and Predator comics to show them.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way you guys are doing your stuff, Jesse, Emmett, that's the superior model, in my opinion, is like what these guys were doing, the Things from Another World, that's destined to fail.
Well, that's a great point, Sean, because if Dark Horse can't justify owning comic shops anymore, what does it say about the future of the direct market? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, plus look at their location. Their rent's probably astronomical.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not.
This at one point was an advertisement for them.
Yep.
You know, when they were really rolling and money was, really good. This is just a fat ass advertisement.
And they had a website. You could pre-order FOC stuff. I think they shut their website down for FOC orders first.
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then I can't believe they left the store and not the website. That's backwards. Yeah, that's probably because what Emma said is probably just a tax write-off that they couldn't afford anymore. Shift in focus.
Well, it's kind of sad to see more brick and mortar comic shops, shutting down shops. I know that there's some people out there that think that brick and mortar shops are thriving. I don't see anything that says that to me. I mean, I see that Emmett is saying that he's having better years year over year. I see Jesse saying that, but we hear more about comic shops shutting down than we do comic shops opening.
Yeah, and the question to that is always, what time do you go on Whatnot? What time are you on eBay Live? What does your eBay store, your bin sales do? So what happens is we give these guys a pass a lot, where we say, "Oh my gosh, they're shutting down. It's not busy." Well, some of these guys don't even have Facebooks. You walk into stores that don't have cash registers. It's their wallet is their cash register. So you got to be mindful sometimes on, did that store actually pivot at any time, or are they the guy in the comedy show that just sits behind the counter and waits for someone to walk in?
Yeah.
I have a comic shop out by me that wasn't even aware that their store wasn't listed on Safari to be able to find their location. Like
Wow.
you can't hop on an iPhone and hit comic shop and have their location show up. They had no idea until I told them that.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, we thought that happened automatically." And it's like, no.
No.
You know, and I think to what Jesse's saying is that there's stores that refuse to pivot, that think that they can do things the way they've been doing it for 20 years. And some of them can, and they succeed. But a lot of stores have realized that, like, you need to carry board games, you need to carry toys, you need to have a presence. Whether that's just to advertise your location or whether that's to have another avenue for sales. I think for the most part, we see a lot of stores that are closing don't embrace fully all of the tools that they have at their disposal.
Yeah. You know how cheap radio has gotten?
Yeah.
Radio has gotten so cheap.
And billboards have gotten cheap as
Yeah,
shit
but
too.
that being said, that the reason it's gotten so cheap is because nobody listens to the radio anymore. Does advertising on the radio even matter?
Yeah, it was huge for me. It really, like,
How
since
long
I
ago-
started doing it
How long ago did you start doing it?
a year ago,
Okay.
and it's just been blowing up ever since then. And
How
a
do
lot
you-
of people
how do
come in
you-
and they,
Okay, go ahead.
a lot of people have come in and said, mostly because I always advertise that I'm buying. Because if people know you're buying, they know you're selling. But I need inventory always.
Right.
Got to feed the monster, right? So I advertise that we're buying, and
Right.
we made a funny ad, and it sticks in people's minds. And it's very repetitive, and it's very excited. So it's done really well.
Do you get to pick what show you're on, or is it random?
You get to pick.
buy-ins?
Yes, you can. There's different packages,
Right,
and you get to
right.
pick. Yeah.
What were you guys' thoughts on Torpedo shutting down their brick and mortar shops?
I'll go last on this one.
How often? Like, I mean, I'm sure they're doing great online. He doesn't really need the brick and mortar. It costs a lot. He has to be there. Online, he probably doesn't have to be there.
Yeah, he's on tour all the time now with System of a
So-
Down. So
System-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably a bigger headache, and nobody will run your business like you. You can have the best employee there. They're not going to do what you would do because they don't own it.
it's a great point.
Anybody else? Okay.
It's kind of a shame because I never got to go there. I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And it was more like a destination place, I think, because they had that kick-ass vault
Yeah.
with all those slab books in there. It was great for content. I'm curious to know how and why they shut down. I'm sure it has something to do with the lease. Probably that's usually what happens with these places. Is there's probably a lease came up and they couldn't renegotiate it or something, and they wanted more money. The increase was too high. That could have something to do with it.
Well, they actually say in here, it says, while our storefront chapter has come to an end, this is not a goodbye. We will continue bringing comics, collectibles, and more to you online through our website, eBay, and Whatnot live sales. And while
Right.
nothing is set in stone yet, this may not be the end of our physical store forever. For now, we
Right.
hope that you'll continue the next chapter with us online as we keep doing what we love and sharing it with all you. Thank you for your loyalty,
Yeah, but
support, and being
let's-
part of our story.
Yeah.
See you online and maybe someday somewhere new.
I read that as a business that's realized that their current location doesn't suit their business the way that they're currently operating it. and they can survive just fine on website, eBay, and whatnot. At least it seems that way. And you know, their future might very well just be a warehouse space. You know, I mean, it's gotten to the point where you don't need a physical store for people to walk into. It's another avenue to make money, you know, and it's a great way for a comic shop to be set up. But if they're killing it on everything else, then all this is another bill that maybe they don't really need. So,
and you want to be centrally located. It's cheaper to be in the middle of the US than it is to either, you know, Vegas is not the West Coast, like it's not on the coast, but it's still more expensive than, you know, Ohio or somewhere like that. And then you're shipping, if you're in the middle of the country, it costs the same to ship to California as it does to New York.
This is what kind of like blows my mind a little bit. It has to be something to do with rent, because if you're still running a website and you're still going to do whatnot shows and you're still going to do eBay shows, you still need a place to house that inventory, to receive shipments, to ship items from, to go live from. You need high-speed internet. You need workstations for employees. You still need space. So, you know, that's what I did, was I took my store and turned it into that space. I already had the lease. I already had the building. It made sense. Maybe that wasn't an option here. They didn't want to shut off half of the store to the public and only have the front half open or something, but you got to move all that shit somewhere. You know, I mean,
now listen, a great business model would be in an area that doesn't have high rents. You make studios and allow people to use them for whatnot. You just charge them by the hour.
Right.
You don't have to be on whatnot, and just make them, just charge them.
Yeah.
So
if you have that many streamers in your area.
So we'll answer Sean's question first. So Sean knows this. Emmett knows this. So when you sign a lease, you know, I try to get Godfather leases 10 years, 15 years, which it's very hard to get past 5 years, right? Almost impossible to get past 5 years. Why? Because when that Godfather lease ends, guess what? You go from $5,000 a month to $30,000 a month, right? So you want to get the longest lease possible to secure that lowest amount.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
In retail, in real retail, walk-in retail, it's BPP, bags per person, right? So you're counting bags per person. How many people walk in and walk out with a bag? I will tell you, being in Arizona, this is what happens. Oh my gosh, I went to Las Vegas. I went to Torpedo Comics. You will not believe that store. It is amazing. They got Silver Surfer. Their bins are clean. They got CGCs. They got this awesome vault. It is rock and roll. What'd you buy? Well, I didn't buy anything. Right? And that's the problem. You're priced so high that you're not selling anything. So you got two things working at you, your lease and bags per person. And I think that's what it very much came down to. When you have and pardon me when I say this, but when you have a transit owner who is not really there, it's tough to figure out what is success for a store without them being in the present store itself.
Yeah, I wonder how much he actually had to do with the running of that place, like the day-to-day running of the place. In my mind, a guy like that, he doesn't run the place. He's just,
well, when he opened,
owner.
I think when they opened, he did, because I think they had stopped touring.
Yeah, so when he first opened, he actually had a company in town that actually closed, a comic book store that closed, and that gentleman came over to help him. So the first two times I came there, John was there, but you could see that as he got more comfortable with the store. Now, keep in mind, their original store is kind of in a warehouse type space, and they moved to higher rent closer to the strip. So that's then caused that. But at the end of the day, listen, they're then be successful no matter what. They're just going to be successful on a different space and platform.
Right.
Yep.
This was kind of interesting. I saw this. This is from an IG post called Morning Brew. It says, JP Morgan is battling with publishers over millions of comic books. Millions of comic books, figurines, and tabletop games featuring everyone from Spider-Man to Garfield are sitting in a Mississippi warehouse while publishers and JP Morgan battle over who actually owns them, per a Bloomberg report. The stash belongs to Diamond Comic Distributors, the once dominant comic middleman, and went bankrupt last year after losing major deals with Marvel and DC. Now the publishers say that the inventory was sent on consignment and still belongs to them, while JP Morgan, Diamond's largest creditor, argues its senior lien gives them a claim to the goods as the bank tries to recover roughly $7 million still owed. The legal limbo has frozen Kickstarter rewards, trapped smaller publishers' inventory, and turned a warehouse full of pop culture icons into collateral damage. And the reason why I bring this up is because the story is getting out to just bigger places other than just the comic book world. Any new news on the Diamond bankruptcy that you guys have heard out there?
No, it's kind of dormant right now. I will tell you, having a lien is almost a death sentence, right? So you have a lien on a warehouse of $1.5 million in product. That goes to liquidation and sells for $30,000. So you're not relying on any lien, even though you would get a good portion of that $30,000. Somehow this has to go to someone who's going to pay some money, get the stuff. JP gets their more money. Everybody else gets their money. They need to find someone out there who will just take the whole shebang and pay a little bit premium money for it. There are plenty of companies out there, trust me, will take it all. They'll say, how much is owed? And they will figure out how to do it.
I think Universal would be a big bidder on that for sure.
I think Emmett should get it.
Yeah.
Emmett wants it. I don't know where the fuck I'd put it, but I want it.
Super Mastermind says Ollie's won't take comics. That's interesting because Ollie's would have been one of the companies that I figure might be a good one to buy that.
So that's incorrect. Ollie's will take comics, but it has to go through a secondary market seller. They will not take them direct. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
they want them packed in 4 or 5s.
What they're getting at with this is that if Diamond had the books based on a consignment deal, then Diamond technically didn't own the books. So JP Morgan Chase shouldn't have any right to them even under the bankruptcy. So I can see why the lawsuit is happening.
Yeah.
But
the problem is that because I know the Image, there's a certain time when the books, as a publisher, you have to take the books back.
Yeah. And it's well past that.
Yeah. So this is the problem.
Yeah.
Is that when they figure out how long now, if they say they didn't have access to it, like there's going to be, that's what's going to be fought in court. Did you have access? Did you know the inventory?
Right.
Were you notified to come get it?
Right. And this is probably a discovery thing that has come up.
Yeah.
The lawyers probably said, well, wait a minute. Through discovery, you are to tell us where everything is, every warehouse, every storage bin, someone's house, someone's garage. You didn't disclose that during discovery. So they're finding this out. So they're going to find a way to attach that to the lien through Diamond. They're then find that out because consignment is a contract that Diamond has actually taken on. So their primary responsibility, not the consignee, which could be Dynamite or whoever. So they're in charge of that product. So we shall see. I think the great thing about, not the great thing, I think they need to move that stuff out, get it into a secure location, take complete inventory, find out who owns what, and give those dealers the chance to buy it back. Whether they say, I don't want to buy it back, we're going to give you an opportunity to buy this back. You say yes or no, or it's then get liquidated. That would be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat said, doesn't this stuff go stale? Look, there was books. I was buying books before the bankruptcy from 2014. So what was that? 2022, the bankruptcy started, or 2023?
2023.
2023.
Yeah,
so I was buying books that were over almost 10 years old from from their back. Now, a lot of it came damaged, but because the books had just been around for so long and probably moved around that warehouse. And I guarantee you there's stuff stacked on top of stuff. It's probably even older than 10 or 11 years old now.
Yeah.
And
by far.
there's some good stuff, good sellable stuff. I mean, I bought a fuck ton of Zombie Tramp before they closed their doors on selling the backstock.
Yeah, that backstock was always good to have access to. I used to love their sales. Like, yeah. Look for those red items.
The variant sales.
Yeah.
The variant
No,
sales.
all the sales.
Any sale. Yeah.
What about
sale.
Shout
the
out to
25
Drew
cent?
At Wanted Comics, who is the king of those variant sales. He would pick up. I mean, his warehouse is freaking full of those variant sales. It's absolutely right. It's absolutely unbelievable. The amount of like amazing stuff sitting in Drew for Wanted Comics sale. But real quick, speaking of Drew, I want to give him a big shout out.
In the audience who's got a birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Drew at Wanted Comics. Hell yeah. Shout out to Drew at Wanted Comics. All right.
Just because someone brought up Hawkeye 1964 first appearance. There you go, right there.
Another real quick shout out. I want to give a shout out to Ignition Press. This was announced today for them. Ignition Press announces the first ever Whatnot exclusive comic. Coming to Whatnot exclusively on June 11th and limited to 500 copies, a special edition of the Patron, the Cold Open, which is their ash cans, with cover art by Johnny Pearson, and there's also Christian Ward cover art in this issue as well. So a shout out to the crew over at Ignition Press. Good shit on there. Make sure you guys go check out Ignition Press, one of the indie comic publishers that's doing great things in the industry.
Pretty cool.
So how does that work? Are they selling it themselves on Whatnot? Is that what they're doing?
It sounds like it. Set your reminder, link in the bio.
So what we were yelling at Mayhew at, yay for Ignition Press.
Well,
direct to consumer.
I don't think we're yelling at Mayhew for that. Were we yelling at Mayhew for that? I'm not yelling at Mayhew for direct to consumer.
Not yelling, but we had some disagreement about it.
I don't have any problem with direct to consumer.
Same.
Right.
Not at all. I encourage it. Please go DTC for sure.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic to think everybody in the world can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Saying.
So you're being a little facetious with it by saying that.
No. If
they actually all could, it would cut you out.
It's just completely unrealistic. It's like saying I can
Exactly.
jump up and touch the sun. It's just can't.
Exactly.
It's not a thing.
But if publishers start doing it, it is very realistic.
I think that there's a game.
That all the publishers could do it.
I disagree. I think that there's both. I think they can do both.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They should be able to do both and figure it out. Again, the notion that Ignition Press has to sell these books and then ship out these books. No, they hire someone to ship out that stuff, and they figure it out. They figure it out in their margins, and that's how it works.
I'm not saying they can't. In fact, they're going to get much better margins. For the health of that company, it's probably a very good plan.
Yes. Here's I'll say the thing nobody wants to say, right? Publishers spend too much time kissing up to retailers' asses, especially brick and mortar guys. They're trying to you can never make them happy.
I don't know what you're talking about. I can't get a hold of anybody. I've called, I've emailed.
Right back.
They don't even fucking talk to me. I don't know what
Okay,
you're talking
well-
about. Nobody kissing my goddamn ass.
So what I'm saying is this: is I've been to a few comic pros, and these guys get up there in front of all the retailers, and they're like, "We're going to offer returnability, and we're going to offer max discount, and we're going to give you credit for shipping, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to give you that." And there's always somebody that's going to complain about what they're doing. I used to say this: Marvel could ship a store 100 comics, load up a bus full of 100 people to buy those comics, drive them to somebody's store, and some retailer will still complain that they had to pay for shipping on those comics to get to them, and they should have shipping credit. And how come I didn't know these people were going to show up, and I didn't have enough staff on hand, and this is ridiculous, and who's going to cover my cost of boards and bags for this?
That's a bad business person.
But a lot of these, the loudest not a lot of them, I need to correct myself. The loudest retailers are the ones bitching about every little thing. Oh, I don't. And the reason I say this is because, to bring it back home here, if I know a lot of guys that'll say, if a publisher does something on Kickstarter, I'm not going to buy their book or carry it in my store. I'm not going to, if they have a website, I'm not going to carry them in my store. If they sell directly to customer, I'm not going to carry them in my store because I don't want to have to compete with the publisher for sales of a book. That's their hard stance on it. So there's a lot of guys that'll say, yeah, publishers should go. Absolutely, they should go. But the reason they don't, a big reason a lot of them they don't, is because they listen to the loudest guys. And the loudest guys are out there bitching about, oh, never carry their book. It's 5 dudes that are bitching on the stage about it, right? What about the other 200 stores that are going to support you? You know, like, there's totally a balance out there. And I want to see more publishers going direct to customer, because it gets them excited about their book, you know, and then, but they can't just do that, right? They can't just do that.
The
They can't
regular
ignore the
comic
direct
reader,
market.
the regular comic reader is not the one showing up to Whatnot and eBay. These are all the special niche group that are going to buy it and then resell it to another guy that was in that show and wasn't able to get one at 10 or 20% or even 50% more. And then he's going to get it graded and he's going to try to get 50% more. And it just rolls around that niche group.
Is there anybody that's listening to this right now that can make a comment? Do you buy on Whatnot to resell, or do you buy on Whatnot for your collection? I want to know give me an answer. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you buy on Whatnot to read?
Yeah, to resell or put in your collection, or read, either three.
Can we do
or
polls
all,
here? No.
Or
I
all.
have a ton of guys that buy to read for sure. And guys that buy, I'll do a sale. They're buying to flip. I don't care. I tell them, put it on eBay. Go for it.
I don't care, but
you do.
No,
care.
I don't. No, I don't care. But I'm trying to. No, I don't. But I'm trying to explain that they're not all the same people, right? Yeah. The health of the variant game has nothing to do with the health of the reader game.
Yeah, I agree. It's a perfect example. I'd love if Marvel did some shit like, okay, hey guys, we're gonna do this variant cover. It's limited to I don't know, 3,000. You can order them from us on FOC, right? We're gonna go live on Whatnot. We're gonna sell 500 copies for $10. We're gonna sell out. And then you guys are going to have them to sell. The rest are going to be with you guys to sell next week or some shit. Now, some people would throw a fit and be like, that's stupid. They already sold them. I'm competing against them. And I'm like, hell no. Buy them, because then I would buy them, because people are going to buy those books because they want them, because they're hot. They're going to want them directly from Marvel, right? Marvel's going to sell out, and then who has the rest of them? The rest of us have the rest of them.
Right.
You know, it's a
I always
strategy.
say this about all the people we deal with, that Comics Pro, the reason I have a problem with them is because they don't do anything that benefits other than like a discount on insurance and stuff. You know, the main people that benefit from Comics Pro are the people that are on the board, right? How come they didn't get with Funko and say, hey, we want a sticker on like every series you put out, we want comic shop only exclusive. Hey, Marvel DC, hey, you see what Boom's doing? The unlockable. If you order one issue, you get the thank you, but you can only order one. So it's of one per store. And they got rid of that when Boom went under Penguin. Now that's gone. Now that's an open order book.
Did you guys
Right?
get?
No,
But didn't you just get Flops Comics corner box variant from Boom?
Who was it? I just got a one per store.
Yeah, the Flops
Yeah, I
Comics
got
corner
one
box.
from the Doom book.
Yeah, the Doom book. Yeah.
Doom,
That's
and
what I
then
got.
Something is Killing the Children the week before they sent out
Oh
Flops
yeah,
Comics.
we got that. Yeah, a
For
couple
46.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exquisite Corpses gives a thank you variant, and I just got one from not Red Room. What was it? Red something.
Red Root.
Just came out.
Red Roots.
Red Root. I just got one,
Yeah.
a one per store of that today. A
Yeah.
thank you variant.
By the
Right.
way,
That was the
Flops
first
has a book coming or a cover coming out tomorrow that is fucking amazing. And it's for Bad Idea, the Hab. If you guys haven't seen that cover, we'll talk about it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The one thing that you want to look at companies like Comics Pro, I have to do my business every day. I can't wait for a 6-month convention when I'm going to get that, when I need that information today. I don't need to spend $2,000 to get that information that I can get today. So your relationships with your publishers need to be tight. You need to have them on your speed dial when you have a question. If you do, if not, that's okay.
You got to
But
do
Well,
serious numbers.
that's
for
a
them
great
to pick
question,
up the
Jesse,
phone.
because Emmett said he has a hard time getting hold of those publishers.
Yeah,
As a
'cause I'm not doing
suggestion,
those kind of numbers.
as a suggestion for retailers that are having a hard time reaching out to those publishers, what should they do, Jesse?
I think the first thing is a very nice introduction of your brand and you as a person. I think where a lot of people fail is, and this is with artists, publishers, of course, they walk up and they say, hey, I own Just James Comics. I want to do an exclusive. I want to do this. I want to do that. Instead of kind of explaining, this is my ideology of what I'm trying to accomplish in the comic book business. I love your brand. I would like to work on these titles. Can we talk about this sometime in the future? And you leave that open door, right? You leave the convention, you send them a nice email, nice meeting with you. When you have time, I'd like to talk about this. I think if you try to create brand recognition for both and say, hey, both of us are important to work together, that's how you do it. The other thing is you want to kind of find out who the owner is, who the president is, who is the vice president. You got to get those pictures with them, right? It's very important that you
What do you
have
mean
this
by that? What do you
connection.
mean pictures with them?
I think one of the rules when you meet someone famous is you want to get the picture first, right? Because when you tell the story and you got the picture, it's much easier because people say, oh, he's telling the truth, right? If you look at my back wall, I have like 300 pictures with people.
So you think
So
that
that's
putting
very
those
important.
pictures on social media is important to
And
get
putting them on social media. When you take that picture and you get back home from a convention, you send that picture with it. Hey, this is that picture we took. I thank you very much for the time you have taken. And you create these relationships before you're already saying, this is the margins I have to get at. This is how many copies I want to do. And I think that's very, very important. I started my company in a town that had tons of stores. So we had a lot of recognition already to begin with. Emmett's a little bit challenging. He doesn't have that huge amount of stores around him. So I think it really depends on where you are. It depends on your personality, right? You have to have this great personality. And I think that's very important. The other final thing is you got to be consistent. Even if you're not doing something with someone at a convention, if you see them at a convention, still say hi.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very important.
Oh, relationships are super, super important.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
they I did my whole last video on YouTube. It's all about relationships.
So, but what Emmett said is also true. That's why Comics Pro exists, because if you're ordering small numbers, let's be honest here, you order 5 copies a week of a book, and you're blowing somebody up, some publisher, you're trying to hit the CEO up about how they need to do this better,
Yep.
they're not going to pay attention to you. You're a drop in their bucket.
I disagree with that. Your social value is much worth more than your selling value.
What do you mean by social value?
So
Well, if you have a
Go ahead,
large
Benny.
following, even if you're not
Yep.
selling a lot of books, you can
Like on on
move
Facebook and Instagram
Right.
and Twitter.
YouTube.
So I'm
and-
talking
yeah.
about your average. Okay, so
You're
if-
right. You're both right, actually.
Yeah.
If
so
you have a
somebody
huge,
has a big following, I guess you might want to put purple corners in the left side of the comic because you'll sell it better or whatever thing you're asking for from this retailer. But honestly, if for a publisher, it is about, again, that's why Comics Pro exists, because they can take, you got to imagine, guys, like I'm just thinking big picture here. And as you know, I've published at a smaller level, but you got 100 voices coming at you telling you what you should do. You should do backed variant. You should do racial variants. You should not do racial variants. You should offer a big discount. You should offer returnability. I don't care about returnability. I just want to have this. Can you put the corner box on the back? Can you put the barcode on the front? Can you? There, blah. So many people coming at you with 15 different ways. And if the dude that's coming at me super loud is ordering 2 copies of my book, and I have limited time in my day, do you really think that guy's going to get the same amount of attention as a dude that has 17 chain stores and is ordering 3,000 copies? The answer, honestly, I think is just no.
So when you first started, were you ordering 10,000 copies of everything?
Nobody orders 10,000 copies or anything, but I ordered very heavily when I first started. Yeah, well,
So right off the get that, you were ordering 500 copies of every single issue from every
course
single
not.
publisher. Of course not. No one knows who you are at the beginning. They just know where you are today. And people look at growth. Great business owners can look beyond a small number and say, does this guy have growth in his business? Does his ideology match what our company is trying to achieve? And how is he known socially? There's value there.
Everything you're saying is right. I'm not arguing with you at all on that, Jesse. My point was this, is that how much mental energy does the CEO of a publishing company have? Why is he going to give all that energy, everything you're just talking about? If I'm going to sit down and analyze what is this guy's future growth that he could possibly have, and he's ordering 2 copies now, could this guy possibly order 500 copies for me someday? You know, maybe I'm going to invest. Now, I'm not saying they're going to totally ignore you or blow you off, but I'm saying the reason Comics Pro exists is because it gives all these people can get together and say, we all think we should do this. And again, maybe because if you just have one person chittering and chattering, you should do, like I just gave all those examples, all the little things they want to have happen. Who do you listen to? You listen to nobody, right? Like, what's the majority want? How can I find out what the majority of my people want to? I can send out emails, I can take surveys, I can talk to people. And of course, that's when what Jesse's talking about is important. Hey, I want to get a good idea of what my retailers want from me. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason we got into this really is because, you know, Emmett was saying, I'm too small for those people to pay attention to me. And in a way, he's kind of right, because, you know, and it's like, well, and Jesse, and again, I'm not sure what you said, but you're like, oh, but you got to do this and this, which is all great advice. If you want to get through to somebody and you really want to get through to somebody, that is amazing business advice, 100%. But Emmett's also correct where your volume matters what you're ordering, 100%. Your volume matters.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because that exact thing has come up in a couple of conversations I've had with industry vets over the last 2 weeks. It's come up with 3 industry vets, that exact same thing, that, like, you know, what people are ordering matters in the big scheme of thing, and it doesn't matter in a situation where, like, they're not going to sell you books, or they're not going to reach out to you, but it is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Big Clutch says, as a publisher and a retailer, I've always enjoyed Comics Pro. It's the best way to get FaceTime with so many retailers, but you have 200 plus different stores and voices. You can't take it all in. And that's another interesting thing, is that, like there is a lot of people out there. So the retailers out there that make a point to reach out are going to probably get somewhere more than the ones that don't.
Yep.
And Comics Pro just had a big thing this weekend. They had MCM in London, where Comics Pro had a big event over there where a bunch of news has come out. And shout out to MJ Comics, who's in the chat right now, one of our UK brethren. MJ, I'd love to know if you went to MCM in London. Let us know in the chat. But there was a lot of information coming out of Comics Pro there, which was kind of interesting. And you guys can go find a big chunk of that on Bleeding Cool if you're interested.
But I think that harkens back to, and not trying to drag us back into this conversation, but I think that's what Jesse was getting at, and Emmett were getting at, was like, why do we get all these great announcements from the publishers at Comics Pro when these announcements should be made when decisions are made 4 months before Comics Pro? Like, why is Comics Pro got to be this great unveiling when, like, this is shit that brick and mortar retailers should know?
200 Comics Pro members.
Yeah. Like, why?
Well, where else is there 200? I mean, again, I'm not pro or anti Comics Pro, but where else are there 200 retailers in a room?
That's a great point. Yeah.
We're in our email room.
You say all the time, I don't check my emails. I don't get time to check all of them.
I don't check all of them, but if one came from the ones that come from DC or Marvel, an Image, unless they start out with, oh, I have a new book coming out, buy my book.
It's also an event. Like, they're planning announcements on events to get those headlines, to get in the news. Look at our thing we're doing. Yeah. So,
ladies and gentlemen, our second introduction of Big Clutch on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Whoa.
Hold on, you're on mute.
Oh,
you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Mute.
He's like, damn it.
Yeah.
What an amateur.
All right, go ahead.
He's
still on mute.
Still can't hear him.
You're still on mute. Come back.
Your mic's not hooked up. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Don't forget, tomorrow night, be on Wednesdays, Robert Kirkman. No, just kidding. No, like the Comics Pro thing, like, look, I have a really amazing view of this because having been at Skybound for, so many years, and we went to the shows, and I loved it. Not just being able to go to strip clubs with retailers, because that's awesome. But I'm
not in Comics Pro, but if you're in New York,
yeah,
let's go, Emmett. Let's go. No, but it's you do get to have. I mean, you don't have San Diego Comic-Con. Yes, there's a million retailers there, but you're not going to get that FaceTime with them unless you're doing special events like we did. But you get to have that much direct input for folks. But I'll tell you, you do the roundtables. You get 10 minutes to pitch your stuff to retailers. Say, hey, this is what we're doing this year. These are the new books, new incentives, whatever. It changes every 10 minutes. You get another batch of 5 retailers. Boom, 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 boom. It's really hard to kind of get feedback from them on there. So you do the after show. You're the lobby con. You're going to dinners. You do all that stuff too. So you're getting the one-on-one there, but you don't have a gigantic cohesive, like, this is what retailers want. They don't come like, there isn't like a communal, like, pitch that comes from retailers to say, hey, this is what we want as a thing. You don't get that part, which kind of is it sucks because you're getting 200 separate notes. Like, Emmett shop is different than Jesse, then different than Sean, then different than James. Like, everyone's got their different stuff. Like, I remember back in the day, just in terms of how different retailers work, like, I would get inundated with different comments, and I'm like, I can't do every one of these. There's one that might be cool that works, but also as a publisher, we're working on stuff a year, 2 years ahead. So I can only go up there and give you guys the pitch of what we're doing because we worked on this a year ago. And I know it's 4 months in advance of when it's going to come out, but like, I can't change lanes on stuff because you guys like, oh man, I really don't like Green Lantern this month. Kind of sucks. Right. Like, I got to go with it. So it's a really hard thing. You can't change the boat as you're going down the river on that, like that easily. But I do love it. I do love being able to meet with the retailers, talk to people, learn who they are. Like, so many friendships have come from that. And that does help things down the line. Like, if a guy can say, hey, Clutch, like, I didn't get some Walking Dead issues this week because Diamond fucked up my order. Like, I was able to kind of like hit me directly. I have that relationship with them. I'll go call Diamond, or I'll go into my comms. I'll send you some copies to fill in, or I'll call some of their stores and find some stuff. Like,
you get that FaceTime to meet them there. So that is super valuable. In that
I
way.
think that relationship type thing is the most important. I think that's the key to this whole episode tonight is like, I want to keep on saying this. The relationships that you can make in this industry is going to help you more than not, in my opinion, on every level of retailers, collectors,
100%.
fan, creator, those relationships. And if you can create those relationships and build relationships that matter, it's going to help you down the line, in my opinion.
Nope. Not if you're Mike Mayhew. You do it all by yourself.
Ooh, daddy.
Ooh, boy. Yeah.
So the problem I had was when I was at the round tables. Now this was the round tables with Comics Pro. They're like, "Oh, should we be asking?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to see more children's comics from Marvel and DC." And the other retailers agreed with me. There was 5 around the table, and the person from Comics Pro say, "Oh no, we've given that over to Scholastic. That's Captain Underpants. That's manga. That's we've given that over to them." And then as they get older, we have to bring them to the floppies. And I'm like, you're training your future buyers to read something else. And what I also asked that you asked them to do some literacy outreach. I mean, the Department of Education has a white paper on how good comics are for the literacy and how comics aren't making that a big point several times a year, getting on the news, getting, at.
Do you think that's
Comics Pro was like kind of shrugged?
Do you think that's
Really,
changing
is that
with
important?
the do you think that's changing with the current trend of like you were seeing Ben 10 and Dork and Dungeon Crawler Carl? Do you think that's changing at all?
Well, I think that they're looking to get that generation. They're looking to get that generation. I want them to start out at 3, 4, 5 years old, getting stuff into. Now these are all faces that they know. Look, Marvel has Amazing Friends on Disney Plus, and when I give that, I bought a F ton of those at Free Comic Book Day. I give them out all year long because every kid, when they see it, they know it immediately.
Right.
Young kids are gravitate towards what they know. They don't want to try a character that nobody's ever heard of. They don't want to try something new. They want something they already know, something that's familiar. And look, 1, we could help with reading comprehension. And 2, we would start making more comic book readers. Humans are innate in storytelling.
Yeah.
Verbal and through books.
Yep.
And
It's our history.
yeah, it's and if you can get them in hooked early, it would just make the whole industry healthier.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. I think there definitely needs to be more, kids books and whatever. But I think that the larger publishers have seen that like the return on it isn't for them. That's why, that's why Marvel has licensed out. Why would you license out a Star Wars property to another publisher to do a kids book, right?
Great point.
If there was money there to be made to do it, you would do it yourself and make that money. But they realize like, hey, it's too much of a trouble to kind of manage and do. We don't really have the effort. They don't want to spin up and figure out they're not going to be like a, First Second or, these other smaller, book publishers who deal with, younger age stuff. So, hey, let's license it out and we'll just take in some cash from it as something that doesn't even matter to us. Right. Like you see that stuff. And I think we're going to see, I have a feeling that there's going to be an announcement soon about something along that lines for one of the larger publishers in a wider fashion soon, so yeah, it sucks. I want more stuff that kids to get in there, but I do think we are in that point where we are seeing the kids who read Captain Underpants or read Dogman. They're the ones who are coming in to buy these. Yeah. When you guys were talking about the compact books, like I was like, it's the greatest invention in the past like 10 years. For like it is the greatest thing. Smaller stuff, you shove it put it in your pocket, but it's like it's such that format is so good for younger readers because they're reading manga. I think that having more options in ways to do it. I always enjoyed, the fact that like when Robert would like, hey, we're going to do a trade, we're going to do a hardcover, we're going to do a slipcase, we're going to do a compendium, like every which way that a person would want to read that they can, it's out there for them in that way, right? Because there are people who like the display books and they want, or the guys who want the big art stuff, like, but the guys who want this small thing that I can put on a shelf with my manga, we've got these now. So smart.
Right.
Such a good thing.
Hey, Sean, I want to ask you a question. First of all, you're only being counted as one appearance. I know you're trying to catch up to Polito and Philip.
No,
there,
he's got two. He's got two appearances. He was
Wait, I'm gonna
on
put
the
my
second
British
show.
mask and I'll be a
Tonight,
different
yeah.
guy.
He was on the second show. So.
No, I know that. I'm just saying he came in twice today.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
only gets
yeah.
counted
Oh, he only
twice
gets
once
one
a
appearance.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He's got the jacket coming to him and a couple more appearances.
there you go. So Walking Dead, Kirkman, Skybound, lunches at San Diego. Back in the day, you had cliques, right? You look in the crowd, everybody's got their cliques. They have their groups, all staying together, no matter what.
Yeah.
Are those cliques still important? Or are we down to individual stores working by themselves, or can they still work in that big clique of a group?
Oh, I think you should definitely work with other retailers in different ways. Like it makes the most sense to be like, dude, who the hell? I mean, I don't know. There's only a handful of shops that really can like burden themselves with a 2,000 to 4,000 print run, big 2 variant, right? Like you need to have partner stores that you work with, that you have a good relationship, that you can trust to do this stuff. Like whether it's sharing variants or sharing backstock or customers or whatever, like dude, having groups of stores that partner makes so much sense. Even whether if you're a non-retailer like me, a fake retailer who does shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays on eBay Live, no shill zone. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be a shill. But like I got 3 other retailers that I work with on a block of shows. And we're like, hey man, we each do 2 hours and boom, boom, boom. We take our audiences into each other. Like we work like that too. And it's important to have, unlike Mike Mayhew, it's important to have friends. And I think in this industry, and also in this industry,
Allies.
which is like, this is an industry. We don't do this because we're all making a shit ton of money. We do this because we love this space. We grew up on this stuff. We grew up reading comics from spinner racks at the 7-Eleven or the Thrifty's drugstore. Like it's in us and we love doing this. Like if I wanted to make a shit ton of money, I would not be doing this, but I love this so fucking much, man. So much. And I like, James and I do, like we talk about our love of art and all that stuff. Like, Jesse and I would talk about all different sorts of collections and weird stuff we'd find. Like these things are like, you guys are my friends in this industry, and also people that I would reach out to if I have questions or concerns and stuff that I'm learning, because I'm still new to this retailer side. So it's important to have those, quote unquote alliances.
Amen. Amen. All right, we're gonna end the show real quick and go backstage, but before we do, we have some pickups to go through. And that being said, there was some pickups that Emmett got. So, did the people walk in with this collection? What was the deal with this?
Walked in, the guy says, listen, I got to get up on a plane tonight, and this is what we pulled out of my brother's house. And
you got the wire racks, dude? That's a great deal, bro.
No, the wire racks came from Mighty Mel V.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Mel.
Nice. Shout out to Mel.
So
Love you, Mel.
This is Silver Hawks.
Yep.
And in this condition, it's about 200. If I could find all of
Right.
all the tops,
some parts.
the blue covers for all the seats, and the nose cone, it'd be about $1,000.
Wow.
So
That's
in this
cool.
condition, it's too. So I might try to look for those. So the pizza throwers from original, and
Turtles?
then some He-Man. Yeah, and then He-Man.
Did you check to see if that
both cats.
Cringer is the original
It is
Cringer with the different paint? It's not.
No, that is not. No, it's not the original Cringer that has the striped tail and the different eyes.
Yeah.
That's a short print one. It does have stripes on the tail, but it doesn't have the eyes.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And then more turtle stuff. This is the turtles.
The Technodome.
Yeah, Technodrome.
Yeah. That's like 200. And I didn't take pictures of the comics. This came out of the Mighty Mel V collection.
Nice.
Yeah. And so this is something I never got to show. This is not recent. This I'm trying to figure out where to sell it. So this is a NASA film of the landing in color.
What? Bro,
29 minutes.
Whatever.
Bro, I don't know if you should
What
sell
the
that,
hell?
to be honest, dude.
What? Are you allowed to have that?
All the Smithsonian,
know.
brother.
And then the next one you can read. I think I got it close enough. You could read the picture. So this
Roger
is,
Maris, Mickey Mantle baseball story. Wow.
Yeah, there's 3 reels in this box. You can move it and it'll show the next box. And so this is how big the box is. And those reels are about 18 inches, 16 to 18 inches. And there's 3 of them in there. She wishes. I'd have to fold it in half. So yeah, this is a Mickey Mantle and Maris giving lessons on how to play baseball.
That's
sick.
insane.
Yeah.
Let's go to the golden.
Yes,
Both-
that's what
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah.
Dude,
Both of the
seriously.
items, dude.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
stacking
golden-
stuff to take the golden. I got the poster of the Batman poster that's signed by Bob Kane, and
You're stacking stacks of
Do you
cash.
know-
is what you're stacking.
yeah,
Emmett,
the
do you
video
know the
game.
story? Do you know the story about NASA and the film footage of the moon landing? What happened with NASA?
Yeah, it's all faked, right? It's in the
No,
studio.
not necessarily that, but yeah, a big
But
part of it is fake.
went
but,
missing, right?
but it went missing. So
Yeah.
you could have something that is a big deal. Like they gave it
Yeah.
all away back in the day. One guy who was taking care of all that stuff, they told him, "Hey, we got to get rid of this warehouse." And so he just took it home and kept it and just pieced it off. So like all the original moon landing stuff, big chunk of it
Yeah.
went out, and this guy just took it home. So
Yeah, it says on it, you know how everybody says the one small step for man,
Yeah.
one giant step for man. That's not exactly what he said.
No.
So on this is exactly what it said. It's
For all
leaps
mankind.
forward, or yeah, it's phrased a little differently. It's gotten colloquialized.
Yeah.
People have trimmed it down and made it easier to say. But yeah, it's cool stuff.
yeah.
It is fucking
Emmett,
incredible.
I would start watching any cars following you over the next couple of
Yeah.
days.
Men in Black showing
Like,
up at
Seeing
yeah.
Don't leave that in your
helicopters
store.
above you. Yeah.
Yeah, they better
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
me.
Emmett's not
Drones.
feeling suicidal, and he recently changed his brakes.
Yes,
exactly.
yes, yeah.
Check under
Jesse-
your car before you get in it. We got the force protection measures we got to teach you over here.
Jesse, you got any pickups?
Okay, so I have quite a few pickups. My first pickup is this awesome fake $20 bill I took in today.
Nice.
So I want to thank the person that I caught on film, a freaking 8-year-old. I knew that he couldn't afford to have a $20
Don't you have one of those little brown markers? You got a marker?
You don't use it on 20s. You only use it on
it's an
50s and 100s.
8-year-old. I know some.
Take it to a strip club, bro.
Yeah, some people would use it on a penny. Who knows?
Yeah, stuff in
All right.
awesome girl shorts.
So
You will catch a beating at a strip club. I used to work in one.
Get out,
try to
get
fake-
quick.
Pass big money.
I need that.
Oh, I
Don't
love
even
that.
show that. I need that.
Is that Brian's variant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that says Brian all over it. You better send it to me, and don't get pissed if you end up leaving the show and you complain about shit you gave me.
okay, there you go.
He wants that more than he wants the NASA reel.
There you go. Yep. Then
You could go
I
frame by
don't know if
frame with the NASA reel.
I'm just showing this to show this because I don't know if you saw the announcement about witches.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a few months ago. Where you been?
Yeah. Well, I think there was
There's
something.
new
that came out
announcement.
yesterday,
Something
too.
new.
Yeah, something just came out yesterday about witches. So get those witches, folks.
Yeah.
I don't want to flex on you fools, but I may have seen some witches animation from Scott Snyder
Ooh.
yesterday.
Ooh, there you
Not,
go. Yeah,
not
exactly.
to flex, but
Come find out that information tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Review.
Right. So I picked up this great book.
Oh, Viking Heroes.
Oh,
Awesome.
bro, you're gonna make
Hero.
everybody jealous in a second here.
Yeah, this is a Dave Stevens cover, which most people don't know.
Dave Stevens and Jack Kirby.
And Jack Kirby.
And Jack Kirby. But one of the things, me being old school, always
Stop
know
it.
if it's a Jack Kirby book, what do you
Front
do?
page.
You always open up
on the
the
inside.
page.
Yep.
Nice.
There you go. Jack Kirby sign. Thank you very much.
JSA, send it off.
Yeah,
You can buy that on Jesse's sale tonight.
yeah, exactly. So then the next thing, I got this huge ass thing. A customer came in and everybody in the store went crazy. And I'm like, I can't, as a buyer, you can't be excited about anything. So you got to kind of play it down. I'm like, yeah, I see those all the time. So this came in.
Is it a drill?
No,
Oh,
It's a
that's
Jaguar
awesome.
carrying case.
Oh, look at that.
collecting case from
The
Blockbuster.
Atari video game system.
Tell me it's not
Jaguar.
empty.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it, it had these cool instructions in it, right?
Is
Very,
it
very
like
cool.
a shop?
It's the one you could rent
Yeah.
from Blockbuster.
But even better,
Yeah.
there's
Actual
the
system.
Oh, it's clean. That's nice.
Yeah.
Super
That's like
clean.
1,500.
What, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's anywhere from 6 to
Going to the bay right
1,500.
now.
It depends on.
there you go.
Well, I'll
So,
tell you
yeah.
what, you're not going to find them Jaguar carrying cases.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my pickups this week. So very, very exciting, cool
Those are
stuff.
sweet.
We get comic book collections in. We get excited about that. We get all these cool stuff. I'm still waiting for people to bring me some vintage socks, but that's not happening right now. But we do want to get back into that sock.
I
game,
got
though.
plenty of vintage socks.
Yeah. I don't want the ones with the holes in them. I want them full, right?
I don't
so
want the
very, very
used
cool
ones
stuff.
either, Emmett. No, thank
Yeah.
you. Sean, you got any pickups, man?
I actually kind of do. They're not super cool like those guys' stuff, but whenever I see a Greg Horn Electra, I got to get it.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like anytime I see it.
Shout out
I
to
did get a
Greg
giant. Everyone to buy my giant size man thing. Just the
Nice.
regular man thing.
Oh, newsstand. Very
I grabbed
cool
one
there.
of those. The rest of my stuff is just new. I'm actually going to read this, so I'm pretty excited about reading the Dungeon Crawler stuff.
Yeah.
Never don't know anything about it. Going to read it. And my other pickups are kind of a complaint. So, like, this is on DC, right? So, Hush is coming out this week. So, I got my Jim Lee cover A, and then the connecting set. The cover B is that's the middle of the connecting set if you want.
Good cover.
And then cover C, there's also a foil of that. And they made the 1/100 ratio this. So
Wow.
you got
What the heck?
like, how is
Robbed.
this 1 in
You got
100?
robbed.
Yeah, 1 in
And not
100.
Liefeld.
But this is $8 for the foil. But the paper, non-virgin, because they put the stupid logo up there now. That's $100 book, supposedly.
Ouch.
Like fucking
Cash
nuts.
grab.
The 1 in 100 Fireborns came in. They're double signed by the creators.
Oh, that's cool. I love how they're doing ratios, like the 1 in 100 retailer incentive ratios, and they're signed or remarked. That's such a cool thing.
Dude.
Is that a
Dude.
double barcode on there, or you have your sticker on there?
No, that's the +5. This actually came from. I love that they did this. They put these are just loose. They cut these out and put them in there, in the bag. So we actually have a barcode to scan.
Oh,
when we're
wow.
checking into your
Okay,
system,
awesome.
which is super cool. The retailers love, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that they did that.
Good job on that.
No, I'd need to have an inventory to have to use barcodes.
Yeah, same. I don't use barcodes either. A lot of stores do. Elemental first appearance, second cover. Her first was the video game variant.
Yeah.
I love capes. I'm so glad they're doing capes. Fireborn, they got a really cool foil set. The colors in this pop so good. Again,
yeah,
you
that
can pick this up in your
Spawn
comic
one's
shops tomorrow.
beautiful. Yeah. Spawn homage.
And then I love that there's like a dearth of, I don't know if I used that word right. There's a ton of these connecting covers
plethora.
coming
A
out
plethora.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 from DC. This is the oh wait, wrong one.
Wow. Yeah.
These
Michael
Exquisite
Walsh.
Corpses. Like there's more and more of these connecting covers coming out. Like and like DC has 2 different connecting covers for Hush this week. There's 3 sets, 2 completely different ones. And there's one half of a Delado, one half of a Jorge Jimenez. The other ones are going to come out later. And then Exquisite Corpses has one. There's tons of guys that are doing these connecting covers, which I love because they sell super good for us on streams and shit.
Exquisite Corpses
You
has been
get
great.
people to buy more than one.
Right.
Yeah, and hey, it works for everybody. It's instead of a $5
Marketing.
lot, that's a $10 lot. That's a win for everybody.
Yeah. Marketing.
Instead of selling one copy of the book, you're selling 2.
Amen.
You know. So anyway, and then I got that's Mike Mayhew, but I don't really care anymore. So he doesn't. He didn't need anybody back then. Just kidding. I'm just frowning on him. Low hanging fruit at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you
James-
guys remember the Phantom Force?
Yeah, I remember Phantom
Books?
Force.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's McFarlane over Kirby
Yep.
and Liefeld
Yeah.
over Kirby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
All
covers
through
are
Topps Comics.
awful.
Yeah. Terrible. Yep.
They're
Yeah.
like Frank Miller now.
Yeah, exactly. James, what about you? You got any pickups?
I did. I got Invincible.
Ooh,
Sweet, the video game?
The video
I
game?
like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which is cool. We had somebody that dropped some info in our little private chat saying that there was some available, and I was able to. I think I snagged the last one, which I felt horrible because Yi was like, "Oh, they sold out." Like,
I think he got
2
one.
minutes
anyway.
after I bought
Tell
mine.
Ye I
Yeah.
have one. I have
Yeah.
one. Comes with the comic.
I got one still.
I'll let him know. I got this really cool Berserker in, but I don't know who's selling it. I'm not gonna shill nothing or whatever, but this really cool Berserker comic.
I'm gonna shill,
It may or
ladies
may
and
not be
gentlemen.
available in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you can pick that
It
up in
may or may
Las
not be
Vegas
available in
Comic
Las
Con.
Vegas. Booth
Yeah.
303, they might be there.
Well, you weren't announced as a sponsor. Be careful.
I was announced.
Yes, he was.
He
Oh,
was
he was
announced.
announced.
Oh,
as a
sorry. Yeah,
sponsor.
go for it. Sponsor
Yeah.
away. Say it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You're in there.
So not bad,
During the
ladies and
next
gentlemen.
section.
Make sure you
You're
guys
clear.
go stop by James and Hell Destroyer's booth at Las Vegas Comic Con to pick up that Dan Quintana Berserker cover, limited to 1600 print run, all foil, absolutely gorgeous. Pick them up at Las Vegas Comic Con, and they're live sales, I imagine. And Clutch, you don't get any pickups because your pickups get to save for tomorrow. And
Wait,
that
wait,
being
wait, I'm sorry. I have to do one. I'm sorry.
okay,
No,
okay,
Because
okay,
Emmett's
okay.
here.
Nope,
Okay.
not allowed.
I have to show this
Oh,
Oh,
because
yes,
the Pokemon.
sir. That
Because
is
the
very
Pokemon
nice.
Center,
Fuck you. Holy
like these
shit.
boxes, like
Yeah.
yeah.
well, tell this story about this, Clutch, because you got to tell it the way. Like we get a picture in our group chat saying, "Hey, are these anything?" And it's a box full of Pokemon boxes. Like,
just
and that's sitting on top.
ETBs, like some sealed stuff. I was like, I had gotten these from a friend. I was like, what are these? And it was just a gigantic. It's like it's a lunar box basically now full of ETBs and stuff, and I had no clue what they were. And then I started just scanning pictures. I was like, holy hell! Some of these ETBs for Pokemon are insane.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple that are like a couple $1,000s. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah, that came out 6 months to a year ago.
yeah, nuts.
Yeah. Forget it if you get like have an original ETB when
Yeah.
they first started making them. Fuck.
I want to show you something real funny, real fast. I'm going to hide the name here. So someone's trying to buy this collection, big collection from me, right? And I don't know if you can see that, but they give me the price, and on it they go, "Well, I'm willing to give you this much, but I'm willing to give you $2,000 in Pokemon cards." That's how big Pokemon cards have become for retailers, where they know they can throw that little Pokemon jab in there, right? and you're then go for it because Pokemon is just king. Right.
James will get this one. I've seen a lot of I follow a lot of tattoo artists on Instagram, and I see their IG reels where they're like, hey, like I'm willing to trade my services as a tattoo artist, and they list a bunch of stuff. And I swear to God, every time Pokemon is listed in there, like I will trade tattoo services for Pokemon. I'm like,
Well, I saw a post today where on
I have an artist
IG.
at my shop that has said the same thing.
I
We'll
saw
trade.
a post on IG today where it's Big Boy from Outcast opening up Pokemon cards and going crazy over them. So Pokemon is like bigger than any of you guys. A lot of you guys realize how big it is, but those of you guys who don't,
the
it's
current
bigger than
set,
you think.
So all the sets do well when one or more cards are worth more than the box.
Yeah.
Right. It's EV, estimated value, expected value, whatever you want to call it. But the so right now there's a one card that's 500 and there's the card just under it's 300. So if you get both in your box, that's 800 on like 250.
Right.
You spend
Pays for
like
everything.
250.
Yep.
And you go,
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think
you ain't getting that.
right. Yeah, and the great thing about it's grandma generational, right? Every 10 years will be bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
So that 12-year-old
It's been
customer
around
that
since
walks
99.
in, yeah,
Yeah.
that 12-year-old customer that walks in is just as important as the 45-year-old customer when it comes to
Magic's been around since 93.
Yep.
And it's having a big growth spurt. It's
Oh,
awesome.
I am gonna shill. I do sell Magic the Gathering on my website now.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, that being
cheaper,
said,
cheaper than probably anybody else right now. I
that
got
being
told I needed
said,
to raise my price.
you can use the code Beyond10 to get 10% off at
Oh, if it's cheaper than
hivecomics.com,
everybody, you're getting 10% off.
comicselite.com, and Dynamite and dynamicforces.com. Use the code Beyond10.
Let me tell you. Let me say something real fast about magic. So, apparently, there's a magic show open or magic store opening up 10 feet from my store, 15 feet from my store. So I called the landlord. Yeah, I called the landlord and I go, hey, did you read my lease? I do all TCG. Well, he's selling magic. What does that have to do with card games? I go, well, it has everything to do with card games.
He's thinking
And
magic,
he's like,
magic.
yeah, he's thinking magician magic stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're then let him pass because that's all he's selling. But I thought that was kind of funny.
Before we go, I want to give one quick shout out again. Shout out to Adam over at Comic Boards Inc. and Sveta Shabina, who, if you guys are fans of Sveta, go to Monsterpalooza this weekend over in Pasadena Convention Center. Adam's going to be set up there with a bunch of really great prints and stuff from Sveta, as well as some really cool variants, including... I don't know if Clutch saw this, so Clutch, this might be new to you.
Oh,
this is
wait,
the new. This is the new variant at Monsterpalooza from Sveta. This is the front. And this is the back.
Oh my god!
It's a comic book.
It's a comic book.
What's the name of it?
Dreadful 3. This is for the Dreadful 3. This is her new comic. It's issue 1 just finished on Kickstarter. Issue 2 is getting ready to go live on the 10th. And
Kickstarter are arriving now to people for the Dreadful.
Yeah, I got mine a couple days ago for that first one. They ship quick.
And is that a flat cover or embossed cover?
I don't know. Great question. It'd be great if it was embossed.
Is it squeezable?
I'm sure Sveta is already looking into that. So shout out to Sveta and all the crew and Adam, everybody over there. They're going to be on the 10th to talk about the new Kickstarter. And then finally, you guys, come hang out with us tomorrow night for a very special show. Not only are we going to have some great creators on the show to talk to you about a great comic book, The Digger, right? Is that what it is, Clutch? I think Diggers. Yep. So they're going to be on to talk to us, but even better, we're going to have multiple creators on the show. The one, the only Robert Kirkman's going to join us tomorrow night on Wednesday night review on Beyond Wednesdays. We'll see you guys soon. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, go check out all these great retailers in their shops. And actually, you know what? One last thing. These great retailers, do you guys have anything coming up this next week? Emmett, anything going on at your store?
Not next week, but if I get on eBay Live, I spent Memorial Day weekend, a Memorial Day party with William Sadler, and he was Death in Bill and Ted's excellent Bogus Adventure. He was also in Shawshank Redemption. He has a collection of pulps, sci-fi pulps, and that will be one of our first shows on eBay Live if the contract comes through.
Awesome. Sean, what about you, Comics Elite? You got anything coming up this week for Comics Elite?
Yeah, I sent you some stuff in the chat that Robert Downey Jr. is finally up and golden for bidding. If anybody wants to,
that's a big deal.
We can buy him.
Yeah, he's available. He's only at $2,000 right now.
It's on Golden right now. Look at that.
Yeah, it's always the last 2 hours at Golden.
Yeah.
So here's the link for that, you guys. I'm going to drop the link in the chat if anybody wants to check that out.
30 days or 45 days?
It was 30. It's 21 left, I believe. So
that's huge.
Yeah, it was a 30-day auction.
And
then I sent you a picture too right below that at Vegas. You can also get some cool stuff from us. That's going to be the foil variant for Absolute Batman 20.
That's gorgeous.
It's fucking great.
It's gone. It's foil. They're only going to be signed by Scott Snyder. We're only selling these foils signed by Scott Snyder. They're going to be limited to 4 or 6. I haven't decided yet. I'm leaning towards 400. But pre-sales website on Wednesday. Live sale is going to be on Saturday. we're probably going to try to do, if they can manage to do eBay Live and whatnot, they're going to do both. We've been streaming a lot more on eBay Live lately. It's doing very well for us.
Pool yacht.
Yeah, that's all coming out this week. Gun Honey might actually be available now. I'm not sure.
Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. Two-Face and,
Yeah.
and
That one is good.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Who
either
did this?
those are either on now or they're available this week. Again, these are all shared with 616.
Who did this?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. That is there's brain fart. Hold on. It is Dave Wilkins.
Wow. Shout out to
Wilkins. So
Dave
that's
Wilkins.
actually
We love
that's
Wilkins
part of
over here.
Alpha. Yeah, that's not 616. That's actually Alpha exclusive.
Dave Wilkins, a beast, man. Amazing.
killing
One of the
it.
best He-Man artists ever. And then you got
Yeah.
this beautiful absolute Green Arrow. Is that Kirkman?
Kirkman.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. Dude, this is an homage to his own cover. And I brought this cover to MegaCon to have the original that he homaged on this. I brought that cover to MegaCon, but every time I walked by to find Tyler, I couldn't find his booth. I just didn't see it. So I didn't get it signed. So now I'm going to have to have him sign both because that's a great homage to his own cover.
He's going to be in Vegas. He's been doing these face covers now. That's kind of his thing. He's done a few of them, a Nectar and some other stuff with the face covers. Really good.
Yeah. And then
Really
this
good.
is...
That'll be out this week. Also, that's Kunkka, Kendrick Lim.
So
Yeah.
good. Oh my God. That's
That's
awesome.
one of the... Thank God they're finally changing the look of that Venom to more
Yes.
feminine. Yeah.
Yes, it was revealed at the end of the last issue. She finally looks like a chick.
Yep.
Oh, she
Her
just
story-
looked like a muscle mommy. That's all.
Her story is much more interesting now in ASM. That's a whole other thing, though. Her story is the most interesting
And then
thing.
finally, look at that. Absolute Catwoman
Oh.
#1.
Yeah.
Mama.
Yeah, that's super good, of course.
Who's this?
Ivan Talavera.
Oh, wow. Talavera continuing to
good.
kill it. Look at that. This right here, how it has the city kind of like in her clothing.
Reflected, yeah.
Yeah.
In the camouflage.
Yeah. That's
Dude,
badass.
I was talking to Snyder about this the other day and at the signing, and it just got me super geeked out for it. I was like, oh, this is going to be so tight. It's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
super
beautiful.
pumped. Anyway, that's what we got coming up over there. Beyond 10, I think it might still be a set at 15%, but if it is, I'm not going to change it. So use the code Beyond 10. Save the money, guys. Get it.
And then James, I listen, we're gonna have to shill for you again. What is Hive Comics got coming up?
Vegas this weekend. With Vegas, I've got, Sean and I have Whatnot sales that
Hell Destroyer.
Friday
right?
night, Whatnot and eBay Live. Saturday night. I have one Friday night as well. I'm hoping to get a bunch of stuff signed by Snyder for either Friday or Sunday. So one of those sales is going to disappear. But I have a buddy of mine that could use some help moving some books. He's trying to take care of his mom and do some things. I told him, I said, bring them all with you. Let's go get them signed and I'll dedicate a sale to him. So one of the 2 nights we'll end up doing it's a lot of he has a lot of really high end in demand Absolute Batman stuff.
Nice.
So one of those 2 nights.
Wait, hold on. Where's that coming from?
Someone running a fax machine?
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. I saw it.
Hoover.
Dial-up went out.
So that's
funny.
coming up. What, this weekend? You said maybe?
Yeah, that's this weekend, and then Heroes is 2 weeks after. We've got a couple of exclusives for Heroes, which is gonna be pretty cool. So
Hell yeah.
excited for all that.
Jesse, what about you? You got anything coming up for the shop over the next week?
So I am then do something real fast before the dumbass out in front turns on that freaking dumbass machine. So we are going into remodel starting on Friday, folks. Starting on Friday, we are doubling. James has seen the store, so he knows what we have out here. We are doubling manga section. We're doubling VHS section, NASCAR, WWE, AEW, and we are actually going dumbass. Or one second.
MJ Comics says Jesse plugged in that Jaguar and realized it was a fax machine.
Yeah, there you go. And we are, believe it or not, expanding our POG section. POGs have become freaking awesome for us, and it's a young generation buying that. The other big thing is we just ordered our fall socks, so we can't wait to show you our new socks coming in here in probably about 7 weeks, where they have all that. They are freaking hot. That's what's going on at Just James Comics. We're ready to rock and roll. You can check me out on eBay Live almost every day, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Clutch, what about you? You got anything coming up this week?
We'll talk about that tomorrow, but I do want to confirm that the Sveta cover, it is embossed.
Wow. Oh, awesome.
It's highlights. It's the butts and the boobs are not embossed. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I got to tell you, but there's a lot of cool features in it that are.
What was
embossed.
the point then?
I know. We got to teach these kids. We got to teach these kids.
That being said, you guys, I want to say one more time, thank you to everybody for supporting Beyond Wednesdays. It feels like just a couple of weeks ago, we were asking everybody to hit subscribe to help us get to 5,000 subs. We are currently at 6,787 subs, about ready to hit 7,000. Tonight was one of the best shows on the industry of comics, in my opinion, ever. And tomorrow night is going to be an amazing show. Come hang out with us tomorrow night for Wednesday Night Review, and we'll see you there. Hit that subscribe button. Love you guys. Adios.